the first session, that is the lecture on startups leadership. So there is a definite motive, I think, for arranging this lecture. So our institute is of the view that right now only providing the jobs to the students is not a good idea. So automation is coming up, the jobs are reducing day by day. So we need a different approach as far as students is concerned. And this is the second lecture in this initiative. We had one lecture just a few days back of Dr. Nirbudkar, which was on the job providers rather than job seekers. So it is the second lecture in this initiative, and it is the startups A to Z. Okay. So let me first read the profile of Dr. Shantanu Chakrabarti. But before that, this session for first 1 hour will be for faculty and students. After 1 hour, this lecture is over. The student can go for their activities, and another 1 hour we will have the interaction with faculty. Okay. So let me read the profile of Dr. Shantanu Chakrabarti so that students can understand whom they are interacting with right now. So it's a really great profile that Dr. Shantanu has. So Dr. Shantanu Chakrabarti graduated in mechanical engineering from Jadavpur University in 1972. Having worked in the same university as a lecturer for 2 years, he left for UK for an MSc and PhD in applied engineering from Cranfield University. Returning to India, he worked in Wellman Incantation in their furnace division in Calcutta before joining Tata Steel in 1989. In Tata Steel, he served the cold rolling mill as the head technoplast of the coated products division. He finally retired from the company in November 2011 as the head research applications research and development. From 2011 to 16, he was a distinguished visiting professor under the Indian National Academy of Engineering at IIT Kharagpur and also at the NIT Agartala. He was a member of the Academic Review Committee for Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur for 3 years, in March 2014. From 2012 till 2016, Dr. Chakrabarti was associated with the Technology Information and Assessment Committee, TIFSC, wing of the Department of Science and Technology, as the editor of the chapter on metals and minerals from the Vision 2035 document, published in July 2016. He also worked for NSDC, the National Skill Development Council, in developing qualification packages for steel plant workers in India. Dr. Shantanu Chakrabarti also worked as the sole technical editor of the volume How Technology Evolved in Tata Steel, the 50-year narrative. The book was officially launched by Sir Ratan Tata in March 2017. An avid teacher with hardcore background of industry, Dr. Chakrabarti has been all along active in the field of training and development, both inside and outside Tata Steel, conducting workshops for industries and universities in its areas of core competence. It is his almost third or fourth visit, you can say. He is a regular fourth visit and he is a regular visitor here. So I request Dr. Shantanu now to start with the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday I had a 2-hour informal chat session with faculty and students. Call my Yesterday, Sunday afternoon, I think that's fine. Can you hear me properly? Fine. Sunday afternoon yesterday may not be the best time, but I enjoyed the session. I only wish those who were present had asked me more questions. Anyway, I was saved from the bullets that was fired at me. A couple of students, Professor Tirupati, Professor Mangesh, they asked a few questions. In fact, the more you ask questions, the more interactions that are generated. Basically, yesterday's session was on motivation, self-motivation, and how to compete with ourselves, how to make the students more employment-friendly. I enjoyed the session. I hope some of you did also. Today's session is absolutely on a different topic, on startup. Let me be very candid and let me confess that I have not done any startup myself. I have seen startups grow. I have seen how ideas germinate, how ideas get killed, and I have seen how ideas shape into a big canvas. Before I go to my 12 slides, I have only 12 slides with some hyperlinks. I would like to narrate stories as you have seen yesterday, heard me yesterday. I love storytelling. I love storytelling. And I believe the way we absorb knowledge is through stories, and we are matured enough to get the right morale of the story, and something remains back in our hard disk. And some of them are not deleted, cannot be deleted. We used to have a project approval committee meeting, PAC, PAC in Tata Steel R&D. In one of these meetings where I was a silent spectator because I didn't have any research project for myself, I was in the approval body. Somebody presented a particular scheme saying that he had developed a particular chemical solution where a steel plate of A4 size sheet, red hot to 800 degrees centigrade, can be cooled much faster than just with plain water. He has made a solution with some chemicals, and he was researching with titanium dioxide TiO2 for nanofluids. He was making nanofluid with a stabilizer, sodium hexametaphosphate, and he was using that, and he found that the heat transfer rate is increased 25%. But the beauty was he didn't know when to use it. He said, I want to develop this. May not be as an entrepreneur, but he wanted to use it in the steel plant. And since I had a complete background of maybe 16, 17, 18 years in steel plant shop floor, I jumped and I said, may I have a suggestion that can we use this particular fluid in a bigger volume to cool down big steel coils which we need to cool without pouring water directly into it, but in direct cooling. They looked at each other, the senior members in the approval committee. They said nothing wrong. We brought in somebody from the cold rolling mill, asked him that they would, if they allow us to do the experiment. Within 3 months, the experimental pilot project was framed up, and immediately we started a trial. Remarkable results. And we projected the results onto a bigger canvas, and we found that there would be crores and crores of saving, because any fluid that needs higher heat transfer, that gives higher heat transfer rates, are extremely costly. So we changed that in one set, and we were extremely successful. We presented that in an international innovation competition. Out of 1,760 competitors, our project came in the top 3, if not the first one. That didn't shape into an entrepreneurship, that didn't start any startup, for example. But what really happened is a new idea has its time. A new idea needs a real ambience of encouragement so that it can flourish. Somebody can nourish and somebody can cherish. It flourishes, somebody nourishes, somebody cherishes the idea, and ultimately it shapes into a successful venture. I will give you quite a number of such examples that Dr. Gokhale requested me, rather than going to the fundamentals which are available in textbooks and in TED Talks and in lectures. It is far better to talk about individual anecdotes where such creative ideas find some spark and a real pleasant, useful fire starts. How is the next slide goes in? This one or this one?
This one, sir.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Okay. I will talk about weird connections, peculiar, bodic connections, yet so scientific. And I deliberately used 5 examples in a haphazard manner. What I will start with is, before I go to some of the stories you might be familiar with, this only Sandeep Bharat knows and I know. He has a 6-year-old child. He was very busy. The little child didn't have time to meet me. He said, I'm going to play, and he went out. I had nice time, tea time with Pallavi at his residence after the lecture was finished. I was amazed to know some of the questions this little child asked. When he was being taught spelling money or monkey, he said, Papa, if I take out the K, it becomes money. Are there any relation between this money and monkey? Okay, that is for us to answer. Whether monkeys make money or monies make monkey out of that. That is different. The second question he asked, I kept on thinking about such questions, and it was such an amazing thing. He is not trained. He said, why are there 26 letters in English alphabet? Why is there no letter after Z? I never thought about it. None of us has an answer. Maybe a particular linguist can answer that. But a 6-year-old child in his free, uninhibited, mark the word, uninhibited, no record, no restriction, can think and ask, Papa, why only 26? Why only 26? Why not there anymore? Second, his name is Shlok. I didn't have the privilege of meeting him for even more than a minute. He was very busy in playing. Fine, that's good, that's very natural. Third question, an example. One day he missed a shoelace of his and they were getting delayed. The little boy asked, Papa, what are you looking for? He said, one of the shoelace you have missed. Where have you misplaced it? He said, why bother? Cut it into two, at least come to chal jayega. And it did happen. This is creativity, uninhibited. One of the basic clauses of startups, ideas, idea generation is uninhibited thinking. Out of the 40, 50, 60 here, if there is an idea I drop here, there will be at least 30 of you will say, Kabhi nahi hoga, nahi hoga. You would be surprised and shocked and amused to know there is research going in for transparent steel. Steel ka panel hoga, steel ka panel, lekin dikhega just. I can see it, but it is steel, with all the strength, but properties like glass. There will be many who will say, careful. Even there were big short scientists who used to say, Joe, science cannot discover anything new. Jo hone ka tha ho hi. Even computers, the mainframe, big computers. I had worked in big frame computers, no PCs. In 79, 80 in England when I worked, there were as a separate computer center, one computer used to be half of this room or rather 1/3 of this room. We used to go for some printouts. After 2 days, we used to get the printout in big sheets like that. Nobody ever imagined at that point of time something would think like this, as small as this. My father used to wonder at times when we had an old British radio Ferranti, and he used to move this tuning knob and say, look, somebody is sitting in UK, London, and you can hear your voice. I wonder if he had seen Skype sessions today, he would have died out of excitement or surprise. Coming out of Shlok's observations regarding Z, shoelace and money monkey, there are some other stories also. I am trying to make the interactions more interesting with these stories, then I will go to the more theoretical part of it. I am sure many of you have heard this story. I narrated this story in a couple of my old lectures in this hall itself. Somebody bought a new car, Pontiac variety of General Motors possibly. And he wrote a complaint to the manager of Pontiac company saying that each time I buy a vanilla ice cream, my car's engine stops. What? Each time I buy vanilla ice cream, my car engine stops. To first complain, the customer service department threw it. Second complaint. Third phone call. And then finally, very reluctantly, the manager sent an engineer from his department to that customer to find out. And he was very serious. Elderly gentleman. He said, Chalo, let's go. We'll show. They went to a ice cream take-off company kind of thing. In the counter, they order this one, they go there in the counter, they pick up, and they drive out. Kinds of it, McDonald's have it, I don't know in India.
They brought plenty of McDonald's outlets have order counter. By the time the car goes there in the other side of the kitchen, the material is ready, he takes it delivery, online delivery they call it. Not online, sorry, on the go delivery kind. So they found that each time, vanilla is a very quick, mostly sold variety at that point of time. So each time he was ordering vanilla and he was, before he switched off the engine, and by the time he got the vanilla ice cream within less than a minute, he started to start the car and there was a bubble, vapor bubble forming between the fuel tank and the carburetor, the control within the engine. That vapor bubble didn't have time to collapse or burst. So as a result of that, that was blocking the flow. It was a genuine complaint. Nobody ever thought it is possible. You can easily Google vanilla Pontiac story. You will get it. It is there. Vanilla Pontiac story. Very interesting. Another interesting thing. A gentleman called Galileo Galilei. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the name of Galileo Galilei. It is saying, the story goes like that he was sitting in Italy, somewhere near the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And there was some kind of atmospheric disturbance or there was some kind of headache, earthquake. And he found a lamp hanging from some hook up was swinging. That was the moment he thought, there is a periodicity. Let me do this experiment at home. So went back, he tried experiments with varying the simple harmonic motion, the pendulum. He discovered that pendulum out of that. That's how the story goes. My purpose of giving such known examples, bringing them in front of you, is that simple, Siddha Sadha, apparently meaningless, very ordinary, day-to-day, mundane incidents can open up wonderful vistas and possibilities if we have our receptive antenna clean, sharp and sensitive. Clean, kachda nahi hona chahiye. Sharp, powerful hona chahiye. And receptive, ready to receive. I would be a good observant. Before I go take a little bit of detour and tell you a story of a famous author. I will come to the name later. I think it was in France. It was a boy, something like Shlok of Bharat's son, Sandeep's son. 6-year-old boy. In the kindergarten nursery class, the teacher, lady teacher asked, I said, Achan, all of a sudden, hey boys, girls, what did you see when you came to school today? You? So, nothing. You? Nothing. There was a boy, young boy at the end, little thin, and he said, Madam, I know. I saw 2 hens, 3 cows, 4 dogs, 2 cars, 77 people fighting, and there was some kind of a broken building and things like that. He narrated what he said. Everyone saw those things. That was the person, and this person became a famous writer called Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo was this child, and this story I read maybe over 30 years ago. I couldn't forget it. The power of observation. If a 6-year-old child can have that, why can't we have that? Why can't we encourage that? Why can't we encourage it? The school from where my son Prasta graduated from, Jamshedpur Loyola High School, there was an unfortunate, I would say, a teacher. I would not give any other qualifier. Some of them, including our son and some of other boys, were very talkative in class and used to ask a lot of questions. The teacher concerned categorically identified the top 3-4 boys and said, "Pura class mein khamosh hai. Ek question puchoge to nikal dunga bas." If one question, and I can see, if you stand up and ask questions, I will try to work. This is how a teacher should not be. This is how a startup or a brainstorming session should not work. This is how we should not kill ideas. If there is a transparent steel, rather than saying why it is not possible, if we can encourage things like, yes, we can think about that, why not? Why not? Pisa and Pendulum, Pantale, foundry sand molds. I don't know how many of you have seen steel foundries or cast iron foundries, dhalai, molten metal. You make a mold inside the sand with some binder and you put the mold in, and later once it solidifies, then you put the molten metal in, you cover it up, it solidifies, then you take out the cast structure, fundamental of casting and molding in foundry shop. One of the foundry shops near Calcutta, a place called Howrah, was famous for foundry shops. Continuously, almost every day they found that every night, whatever mold they make in the sand and keep it covered, next morning the sand mold is damaged. They increase the binder, they try to see if there is any cats, dogs, or any other external factors. Particularly the sharp edge of the mold were getting broken up. Finally, it was found that, there was no textbook, no engineers could solve the problem. They called a very old foundry operator who had retired, who used to live nearby. Usko bula ke laya. He said, "Sir, thoda DDT powder please." DDT powder, foundry sand mold. They applied the DDT powder, next day onwards it was okay. Binder, they were using wood, molasses. And it was chitties that ants were eating up and they're damaging the entire thing. So with DDT, the ants were gone and the foundry molds were ready. So respect everything. Enjoy every observation. You never know kahan se kya aaya. At the age of, in the year of 83, 84, I was designing a husk-fired furnace for a company making such furnaces for rice mills. I worked initially in rice mills in 74, 75. So there were some contacts. Somebody said, "You are in Wellman in Candice, they do furnaces, can you make a husk-fired?" I said, "Our company doesn't make, I can help you design." So I was designing. And I enjoyed my life with my 6-year-old child at that point of time, as somebody is doing. So I explained to my son came, Vishnu came and said, "Papa, ki korcho?" I said, "I'm doing a furnace." "What will you do?" "And it will heat up chirka, rice husk." "Kya hoga?" I said, "Heat ho." "Usse kya hoga?" "We will boil the rice." Ushna chawal ko, narwa ko ushna banane ke liye parboiling jo hota hai, uska. "Why not koila?" "Because koila is costly, chirka is faltu." In his own term, I was explaining. I know that he is interested. I didn't discourage him. So I explained this. What is said, it occurred to him which it didn't occur to me. It can happen with any child. It's not my child. It can happen with your child, your child, your child, anyone. You never know. Encourage. He said, "Papa, koela se you get ash. Will the chilka of the rice husk have ash?" "Yes, there is ash. Highly chinsilika. Balu rata usme glass banta hai usse." "How do you take out the ash?" That's the point. I never thought about any ash outlet. So in the drum we finally added an ash outlet. And it came from a 6-year-old boy. Because it is uninhibited. Nobody has taught him kya bolna hai, kya nahi bolna hai. Galat bhi bol sakta hai. Listen, pay attention to all ideas. Quantity vanilla, foundry sand mold. Now the last story of these weird ideas. That's what I put it erratically and absurdly. There was an electronic company in, I don't know whether in India or abroad. I read the story in a book. I can refer to that book also. That's a wonderful book for all of you. This is Chronicles of a Quality Detective. I think I named the book in the earlier also. And if you haven't got it in your library, you should get it. Chronicles of a Quality Detective. It is written by a Maharashtrian. I forget his name. I think something like Pandharkar and Payal Shet. I remember the name of the lady assistant. I forget this name, I always forget this name, this Pankharkar, there is a car at the end, and 8 stories of quality, trying to solve with innovative ideas, trying to solve problems without any difficult techniques, without any difficult gadgets, by logic. Now this particular electronic company was sending chips to export and also to different companies in India or in the country. Somehow, suddenly they found lots and lots of their chips were getting rejected because of a defect. They inspected the defect and they found that the alignment of that microchip, inside the microchip, that small stuff, the positions were disturbed, and because of maybe a nano level, the disturbance rejected the chips. They tried to investigate, is it material defect? Is it process defect? Is it a defect born out of the operator? They tried to do a repeatability and reproducibility study, the CPK, PPK, those who know the statistical kind of tests for this one. Couldn't find much. It was not specific to any operator. It was not specific to an operating station. It goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, no. Every station they checked fine. Finally they checked on the timings. When were these produced? They found these chips produced between, say, 8 and 9 in the morning, and again 3 and 4 in the afternoon were the defective chips. Kya? Bhutan. Is it some extraterrestrial object or some Atma or something? It cannot be. They found the factory was located very close to a railway track. Those are the times in the day Malwari passes through, and there is tremendous amount of vibration, and the foundation of those benches were not properly done with the damping thing there. So the micro vibrations was causing this kind of misalignment. So observations, recording, noting down actual happenings, all possible parameters, all of them help in finding out root cause of a defect in this case, and in other cases it leads to surprising discoveries at times. Let us take off on startups. Let us start the startup. Why we are concerned with startup? Why have 60, 70 of you have taken the trouble of listening to somebody here? Not because only startup is a new topic, but startup stimulates growth of economy. Today, Make in India and the kind of initiative the present government is taking up is extremely important. In fact, it generates not only funds and revenue, it promotes growth, it improves productivity, increases national competitiveness. If in the time of pre-freedom area in the 90s, free economy before the Narasimha Rao Manmohan Singh combination opened up the economy for international competition, or rather opened the market, it was JPC, Joint Parliamentary Committee or something like that, for steel. They dictated steel price. Somebody comes and says that I want 500 tons of this quality, IF quality steel. We cannot supply that. This is what we have. If you take, JPC used to decide price. After 90s, the entire thing changed. Today, if someone wants 500 kg of a special steel, the steel company goes to his door and tries to understand his market opened up. So, national competitiveness, and there is healthy competition between Tata, Jindal, Bhushan, SR. All these companies are JSW, Jindal, JSPL. All these companies are competing because new zamana, new era has begun.
startup is a new company designed to grow fast. हाँ मैंने तो शुरुआत किया कब किया 2013 है पेपर में है सो गया मर गया ICU में है or it is in coma. That's not a startup. Startup has the basic sign that it must grow and grow continuously. A startup never forms as a split of a mother organization. That I had a company with my brother, we fought between us, and brother has a company, I have a company. We start fresh. No, that's not a startup. It has to be virgin. Change of composition of an existing unit, you change in the ownership of the company, it's not a startup. Founders initially invest their own money. That's a seed capital. We all know the story of Infosys, Narayan Murthy, the way they began. I would also request you to get a book in the library if you have not read. I know the author personally. I have visited him in his house in Bangalore, and he is a name. I'm sure some of you have at least definitely has heard or have heard about his name. And this book is written by him. And I think, go kiss the world. Professor Latkar, it is an essential thing that you must get this book in the library. And this is written by Subrata Bagchi of Mindtree. I am sure some of you have heard the name Mindtree. Mindtree is a software company that will provide solution. Subrata Bagchi. He lives in Bangalore. He has another volume. I don't remember his name, possibly Entrepreneur or something like that. I forget about the name. But Subrata Bagchi's book, Oak is the Word, is a story and almost a biography kind of thing. And it talks about how he formed Mindtree. It's a wonderful story. It's not a theory on which you will be asked questions or quizzes. It's a story. Those who have the bad habit of reading books, those who have the bad habit of reading books, please pick up another bad habit by reading this. It's a delight. And I often offer this conditionless offer that if you buy it and read it and don't like it, send it back to me, I will send you the money back. Founders must invest their money, initial to start off, the seed capital to take off, and because, see the last two words, whenever I see that he or she is making a startup initiative and he is trying to sell a product, first my reaction is a frown in my head. Yeah, what is it? Why? Why a new one? I don't know. But then I see that this lady or this gentleman have put their own money in, so there is a commitment from their side. This is very, very right. Commitment. Next. Then it gradually builds up the brand, and then gradually expected that external funds pour in and it starts growing. It starts growing. Status of startups in India. These are some basic bare facts. Many of you may be aware, but let me repeat to indicate the importance of this particular topic. Third largest startup hub in the world. Possibly, I don't know the first one, China must be one of them. I don't know the other one. Average age of startup entrepreneurs is around 28 to 30. This study is between 2014 and 16, I am sure. Average age around 28. So that's the age. Most of you don't think that you should give up if you are 32 or 29. 9% till 2016 were women. Total number in 2016, I picked it up from net, I'm not sure how reliable they are. 2016 there were 5,300, it's expected to become 11,500 in 2020, and startups, what was 1,000 in 2016 is supposed to be around 2,000. So it need not necessarily be technical stuff, it can be anything, a service provider. The way the Bawala started, that's a story, that is a startup and the most successful. And you know the possibility of error in Dabbawala. Anybody has a guess? Dabbawala से गलती हो गया. मेरा मछली का करी
chala gaya wo anda bhujia ho gaya. This kind of ulta palta thing, what is the possibility of error? Any idea? Any guess? 1 in 6 million. 1 in 6 million. 60 lakh. 60 lakhs. One case. 60 lakh one case. Total number. Startups, until now, the study shows, mostly from metro cities. Then again, this is a bare minimum fact, but that does not say that it has to be from metro cities. Maybe metro cities people are more conversant, people have better access to facilities, people have better network, people have better mobility, people have better facilities, but startup definitely until now are mostly from metro cities. 50% growth in the last 2-3 years is from the number of female startups. Lady members of the audience, take note of this. So the future is bright and growing and shining. It has doubled. Almost 50% growth means 4 tha 6 ho gaya, 6 tha 9 ho gaya, kind of thing. Private equity and venture capital firms who provide capital for such startups have also doubled because people are ready with funds. मैं देने के लिए तैयार हूँ, आप लेने के लिए तैयार है तो आ जाइए. I am inviting. Fine. I can find some of the eyes closed. Fine, doesn't matter. I think she or he is extremely concentrating. Fine. Government initiatives, quite a number of them. Quite a number of them. You can certify that the facts that you are submitting in application are self-certified. It's something like self-attestation. Startup India Hub. Many have started. If you launch a patent, even for launching the patent, funds will be provided and support for protection of your patent will be provided by the startup house. I started from Jamshedpur by train to Khopoli on 7th. On 6th, I had a detailed meeting with the Chief of Capability Development, Prakash Jha, in Tata Steel, and he was discussing that the way Tata Steel is venturing into new areas is one of them is startups. They are promoting their individual candidates, or if somebody wants to start an entrepreneur outside without competing Tata Steel's product, they are supporting. Particularly young graduate trainees, young junior engineering trainees, even contractors employees. They have built up an innovation cell with 120 members, right from Khalasi to the president, vice president kind of thing. There is no hierarchy, everyone sits in the same chair, same kind of chair. And there they have come up with two very interesting products already. There are 50, I haven't brought it. There are possibly 34 or 54 things on which they are working. 2 of them are already successful. One is an air-conditioned jacket. Why? Especially in front of the furnace, when somebody works in the steel plant, the temperature is around 50 degrees centigrade, 45, 50. And there is continuous this blast of hot air coming. It's very difficult to work for more than 5-6 minutes. I remember when I used to inspect coke oven tops, our thick industrial shoes with steel backups and a thick rubber sole. Within 5 minutes, I used to have holes inside, and it's so dangerous areas there. Air-conditioned jackets with less than 10,000 rupees cost. Somebody has already developed, prototype is already made. They are possibly going to commercialize. The second thing, that idea that has come innovation, they have worked out the pilot and prototype, is a scooty, particularly for the lady members here or everywhere, to take up a scooter and to start it. It requires some amount of power, like that, and then you start kickstart. Aajkal kickstart chala gaya, to aajkal ignition fine. But that particular movement of scooter with a small hydraulic motor, what they have done, that just you press it, the thing will, and then you can take it forward. These two have already seen the light of the day, and they are working on maybe 30, 40 more ideas. And it came from a junior operator. National Credit, NCGTC. NCGTC is national credit guarantee, that yes, you will get credit from a government source. About 10,000 crores have been allotted, if I am not wrong. No capital gains tax, no income tax for 3 years. So once you frame, once you form, then these are the benefits you will get. Building entrepreneurs in academic institutes, in schools, colleges. There are possibly, I do not know in India, worldwide, but in the US itself, there are 2,500 courses on startups. And every management institute, IIMs, or individual SB Jain, XIMB, XICS, Ranchi, XIMB, Bhubaneswar, everywhere they have a special paper and a course on startups and entrepreneurship. Because we want more number of job givers rather than job seekers, as you say. Atal Bihari Vajpayee ka naam pe Innovation Mission, AIA, Atal Innovation Mission. It's already there. You have to know that rules are available in the net. Set up incubators. You know, when a premature baby is born, he or she is kept in an incubator, providing some warmth, what he or she was supposed to get from the mother. So that artificial electrically heated incubator with an extremely sensitive control is needed to keep the baby surviving. उसको जिंदा रखने के लिए जरूरी है. Similarly, for projects which require some kind of protection, we have all of us have seen without doubt, छोटा सा पेड़ या पौधा हम लोग लगाते हैं तो initially हम लोग एक ठो जाल या एक ठो enclosure देते हैं, so that गाय, भैंस, बकरी उसको damage ना करे. So kind of an initial protection. When I first hold my hand of my son or daughter when they are just toddling, you have to have a hand holding so that he or she doesn't fall. Then gradually it builds up. So set up incubators, arrangements for protecting initial things. IITs and Indian Institute of Science have got research parks where new ideas are promoted, nourished, where new ideas flourish and they are nourished. Biotechnology entrepreneurs in particular, government is playing a lot of emphasis on biotechnology. You know it better than many of us. Dedicated program in schools, what I wrote here in academic institutes, connected to this one. Dedicated program in schools and colleges on this. Legal reinforcement. If you need legal support, government will provide, hubs will provide. In filing patents, patents are a costly effort. I never knew that. Why should I pay so much to lodge a patent? But the company used to file patents on behalf of me whenever I had applied. But for such startups, about 80% of the rebate is given for the startups. Rules are easy and lenient, simple online one-window clearance system, and faster exits if needed. That is a shield. That means that in case I'm not successful, I want to come out of it. ऐसा नहीं है कोई डंडा लेके आएगा, no, you cannot do that. You have to be here 5 years and pay us 500,000 rupees or 5 lakh rupees, whatever we have given as a seed capital. No. The rules are simple and exit rules have been simplified to encourage this. 3 stages, we all know. Pre-start, very important. In fact, I would think pre-startup is more important than startup. Unless you prepare well. I think there was a study by Bill Brett who noticed, I remember in production management when I used to study that in final year of engineering in 1972. We studied about Bill Brett and his work study, motion study kind of thing. And he pointed out very clearly at that point in time that in that book, that any job that you do, I'm not talking startup, घर में भी खाना पकाना वाला काम, खाने का जो काम है, preparation for making a sabji or a dish takes X time, or rather eating takes X time, the preparation takes 3X time and cleaning up takes 2X times. Khana is the main thing, but that is the minimum time that takes to eat and finish and forget. But who or she or he, whatever, whoever prepares it, take 3 times the time for making that dish to make it, and 2 times to clean it up, store it properly, keep the dish in a proper fashion. Similarly, in a startup, pre-startup takes 3 times more thought, more concern, more effort, more wisdom than running a machine, kind of thing. Pre-startup, you have discovered an idea, you have validated the idea, you have got it bounced from some reliable sources, you have made an application, you know the rules, you made an application, write down your features, you plan the finance. I'll come to the steps. You plan the finance, and then finally you go for startup. You should be efficient, you should be able to scale up, dhire dhire, and then you should focus on growth, maintenance of the startup, and God forbid, save it if you don't want it. Pre-startup, startup, and growth, ensure growth. Avoiding failures. When I want to succeed, I must know where can I fail. Earning money is good, but becoming aware of how I am spending money is more important. I have a lot of money. I keep it in pocket, but my pocket has a hole. See, if that money goes out, your earning is useless. So avoiding failures in startup. Don't think that you are the most intelligent one. There are many at the same thing that is competing at the same time. There are many who are competing at the same time. So never underestimate competition. Never lie in your couch hoping that I will be the first and I will reach the destination first. Slow and steady wins the race no doubt. But sometimes tortoise or kachua also beats the rabbit. So remember that. Next, serve the market needs. Try to visualize what will be needed. What will be needed. Little bit of a detour with a little bit of a joke. थोड़ा सा चुटकुला होना चाहिए. तो दाल हो रहा है थोड़ा बहुत. Reaction is good. The gentleman had a servant at home related to this particular concept. Visualizing the need. What is the next point? Estimate funds. So he asked his servant, I told his servant story yesterday, elephant has 4 legs kind of thing. I don't know whether it is of the same servant or not, but this is another story of another house help, not that intelligent or rather over-intelligent. He was asked to bring, in a very dry area, he was asked to bring some medicines. Or, I think so, yeah, I think bring some medicines. And then, when the medicine came, the gentleman found that there was no water. So he asked the servant, why, इतना बेवकूफ हो, अरे ये टैबलेट मैं कैसे खाऊं? पानी तो नहीं है, तो थोड़ा सोचना चाहिए, थोड़ा आगे सोचो, पानी का बॉटल, बिस्लरी का बॉटल लेके आओ। सर जल्दी, हाँ ठीक है, दौड़ के बॉटल लेके आओ। अरे बॉटल लेके आया, ग्लास कहाँ है? ओ सर ग्लास लेके आया, सो ग्लास। तो बहुत डांटा, और उसको सिखाया, ट्रेन अप किया, पॉसिबली कोई शॉर्ट कोर्स में भेजा नहीं, बट एनीवे ट्रेन अप किया जो ऑलवेज थिंक अहेड। तो एक दिन उनकी माँ बीमार पड़ गई। I know the story. He went, 1 घंटा 2 घंटे के डॉक्टर बुलाने के लिए गया। डॉक्टर भी आया, उसके साथ माला आया, खटिया आया, पूरा जितना कुछ जलाने के लिए जितने सारे बंदोबस्त सब करके लेके आया। मैं क्या किया? ये सर सोचा, आप बोले थे एडवांस सोचने के लिए, आप बोले इसका कंडीशन करना है, बहुत गंभीर है सिचुएशन, तो मैंने भी तो एडवांस सोच लिया। तो उसके बाद you can imagine mother का क्या हुआ और servant का क्या हुआ, I don't know. But anyway, visualize the need. To visualize the need, we'll come to some stories later. Estimate funds strictly. So funds is a basic concept. In logic, general conception, our common sense says that in logic there are 2 conditions. One is a necessary condition, one is a sufficient condition. Some of them are necessary conditions. Fund is not a necessary, it is a necessary condition as well as, but it is not sufficient. Just funds होने से नहीं. Most of them are necessary conditions. None of them is a sufficient condition. Without funds you cannot go ahead. As I was explaining to friends yesterday, I can see some of yesterday's face today here, but the young 2 ladies were there, they were not there. I told them the same thing, that once you have the commitment in you, half of the job is done. If you want to motivate yourself, you have to have a maqsad. You have to have a goal. I will improve my English communication. I will improve my vocabulary. I will improve my technical knowledge. If this basic premise is in steel with a deep foundation, 50 not 50, 70% of the job is done. Similarly, for commitment and also for fund estimate, I know that I have to do it, and this will be my fund requirement. Calculations of fund requirement should be as precise as possible and as verified and vetted by experts. Fund estimate is extremely, otherwise, in the middle of it, if you are found without money, then your entire enthusiasm, entire initiative, everything is gone. There is a wrong S. This S should not be there. Build a diversified team. Team building is essential. मैं महाराज हूँ, मैं जहाँ पर ना हूँ, जो मैं सोचूँ वो वैसे ही होगा. It is always better to have a second opinion, a third opinion. So if you have a core group of 1, 2, 3, you may have the idea, but make a core group of dedicated, committed people who would love to join and who will have a distant vision. Far sight is much more important than an immediate thing or hindsight kind of thing. ऐसा हम किए थे नहीं हुआ, so I think it will not be successful. Let us see if it works. My hyperlink कैसे किया जाए? Can you give that hyperlink? वहाँ click करना पड़ेगा. Behaviors and mind. Right? Behaviors of successful teams should come. The characteristics of good teams. इधर आ गया. I can see it. We all know, but it is better to remember at this point of time that what are the basic characteristics of a good team, great team. I can go independently also, but अलग से मैं जा सकता हूँ, लेकिन I thought नहीं. Give me a minute, please.
Single folder.
So I think I should go live directly there. नहीं यार.
प्रेझेंटेशन आणि तो फाईल आहे ना ते दोन्ही सिंगल फोल्डर
ओपन झालंय.
Just be a patient, little bit patient.
दिसत नाही.
So in that case, you go to startup GST. नहीं, hyperlink नहीं का. ये नहीं
दोन्ही आहे ना एकच फोल्डर.
next करते हैं.
ये हो रहा है. एक मिनिट ये मूव हो रहा है.
सिंगल फोल्डरला टाक.
आप फोल्डर में चलिए. आप इसको खोलिए.
एकच फोल्डरला टाक.
No, ठीक है. Hyperlink छोड़ दीजिए. I don't want to disturb the mood of the class that way. अभी भी कोशिश कर रहे हैं.
दोन्ही एकच फोल्डरमध्ये आहे का बघा ना. प्रेझेंटेशन तो फाईल एकच फोल्डरला एकच फोल्डरमध्ये
previous no enter. Last attempt. इसके बाद आप just इसमें नहीं हुआ तो no, it's not coming. Just. I don't. I mean, just.
वो सर ये जो पीपीटी है वो क्लोज कीजिए।
पीपीटी को क्लोज करूँ?
हाँ हाँ सर।
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention a little bit. These are fundamental facts. We all know this. Characteristics of a high-performance team. I will share this presentation with you. You can circulate those to those who are willing. Don't give it on a blanket to everyone, because there is no point giving it to somebody who is not willing. So somebody who asks for it, you can give it as a reference. There is no presented material here. Awareness, belief, high performance team believes it can meet commitments. I can do it. कुछ करके दिखाएंगे. Challenge. Communication. The high performance team challenges things as they are, the status quo. Like Shlok did. Why is there only 26 alphabets? Why not a more after Z? That's challenging. Communicative. Extremely communicative this guy is. He took the initiative yesterday. I learned from his father that he said, हमको एक story बताओ. मैं assembly में मैं बताऊँ. 6-year-old boy was told a story in Marathi and he translated it and delivered it in front of a 500 strong audience in English. Tuta Phata English, doesn't matter, he can't rephrase. And what I was disappointed yesterday is we had so many elite members yesterday in the audience. Apart from Mr. Tirupati and Professor Mangesh, nobody opened their mouth. Nobody, in spite of my folded hand request, everyone patiently, carefully, keenly listened. Nobody opened their mouth. If you don't come out, if you are not communicative, that means they have understood everything I say and they know everything or they don't know anything. They don't have any question. Having no question, having no curiosity is a sign of death. I am not an employee of this institute. I have a wonderful relation with the professors, with the board, etc., the governing body. My purpose of coming here is to share my excitement, share my curiosity, and to help you how you can shape your curiosity and get answers. I was really, really disappointed, but as Professor Lakshya told me that was a challenge for you, for me. And I introspected last night and I found that I failed in the challenge in getting questions from the audience. Anyway, communicative. Next. Focus. Clear and measurable goals give direction to the team. I will increase my weight to 65 kilograms. My weight today is 61.8. In 4 months, I should eat more bananas, more rice, more ghee, more parathas kind of thing. I know the measurements. Unless you measure, the focus is not there. Honesty. We don't have to say that. There should be perfect understanding and perfectly honest relation among the group. Professor Latkar, we bring to that most important point. Everyone. How do I motivate myself? He asked on behalf of the students yesterday, how do they motivate for studying? How do the teachers motivate themselves for teaching? How does an entrepreneur motivate himself to set up an establishment? It's a complex function. It's not a simple function. It may be a logarithmic function. It may be an exponential function, but it's a complex function. It doesn't come all of a sudden. Your preparation helps. Your communication helps. Your ability or your tendency to seek more and more knowledge helps. Unless you do that, you can do good, you can do very good, but you cannot excel. Everywhere. Responsibility, optimism, enthusiasm. I don't have to say that you have to be optimist, you have to be enthusiastic, and that's the way we go about this. Why is it not taking it? Again, sorry, I did it. GIT lecture, am I there? No, I'm not there.
Fine. Only 2 or 3 slides left. It is around 12 o'clock or 12:15. What is it? 12? 11:45. So I'll finish. No problem. Another 15 minutes maximum. Please bear with me. Please bear with me. Right. I hope it comes. Fine. Weird connections taking off. Innovative startup, new company. Status of startups. Government initiatives. This is where we got stuck. Behaviors and mindsets of team, unless we have a good team, it cannot work. The team has to have commitment, has to have responsibility, has to have honesty, has to have integrity, has to be communicative, has to be honoring everyone's idea, and decide on the pricing strategy. I don't call Lafarge Cement as an initial startup because cement businesses are always there is nothing innovative there. But the pricing strategy of Lafarge, I don't know how many of you are aware of it. What they did initially, they undersold. That means if it costs 100 rupees per bag to manufacture, they were selling it at 50 rupees, and that automatically wiped away the lot of competitors. What is happening to Jio? The kind of data pack rates with Airtel, I used to pay 65 rupees per month for getting a 30 paisa per minute SPT packs. Today it is 5 rupees, 5 tak. 5 rupees and you get that pack. And they are giving for 48 rupees, they are giving 1 GB, what was 175 rupees per month kind of. And with 9 rupees they are giving calls for 30 paisa per minute in Vodafone for 90 days. They don't know how to sambhalu this one. Already Tata Docomo is in red for a long time. Aircel, BSNL gave open offer for 1 and 2 years, free calls after between 9 PM and 7 AM. Free calls to any line, offline, online, network, STD, mobile, local, landline, everything. Sunday full day, free calls, just to fight. Today they have reduced that, Sunday calls have been abolished by BSNL. So 9 to 7 has been also brought to 10:30 to 6 o'clock at night. But marketing strategy of the competitor has really shaken the foundation. I'm not asking that startup should have that, but they should think about pricing vis-a-vis the situation in the market. Focus on not only growth, growth, how do I increase my deals? Towards the end, because the doctor will not there, Gokhale will not there, Yoshi is not there. I would like to drop this in, which I would request senior members like you to remember. For taking this ahead, can I continue with your permission, please? For taking this ahead, you should not have only theoretical lectures. You should hear somebody who has done a startup. Maybe in one area, in chemical area, in furniture making, in sanitary napkin making, we will come to that story from Natural. But still, once you hear from somebody who has made it with his own hands, you know where the shoe pinches. That may not be applicable for your case, but it's learning. When I had worked in that Popoli shop floor for 2 days, absolutely standing in front of the galvanized material and looking at the defects, wiping away the oil, changing the zinc composition, putting some quotation there. I knew that I have done it myself because I have seen it being done in Tata Steel. With that knowledge, I have done, and they believed my words, not a PowerPoint lecture. So you should have, the point where I was missing you, is that take it as a point that you should involve or invite startup entrepreneurs once in 6 months. I will give you a detail of the Sadashiv Khagre, the gentleman in Karshati Chemicals. He began with maybe 5 lakh rupees, 10 crores ka business at 40 years old. So dynamic. And he says, sir, I spent very little in advertisement. what I do, I am establishing my base. He is growing fantastically. He goes to each customer and asks for their requirement. Kya chahiye? Is it not working? Can I change something like that? No, I don't want any money. I will try this, try that kind of thing. And when I went to Khopoli, that particular plant, they were so very praising, so much praising this Karshati company. His name, Sadashiv's company name is Karshati. That they all say, sir, this product बहुत बढ़िया है, वो हमेशा contract करता है, हमेशा contract करता है, क्या करना चाहिए? So they are going to change their degreasing chemical to Karshati and also the flux to Karshati's chemical. So when I spoke to Sadashiv for 30 minutes last night, he said, sir, मेरा strategy ये है, the base बनाई, so that people know you by word of mouth and everyone will say, go to Karshati. I suggested a particular product to Khopoli, that galvanizing plant, a kind of a zirconia oxide based paint for protecting structures from corrosion. This is a small company in Kolkata called Shivam Enterprise. The gentleman's name is Abhijit Nandan. And he brought the product to us in Tata Steel in 2003 or 4 and said, sir, isse ye ho sakta hai. We tried to experiment with different kinds of application of the product and I found that Abhijit, don't you know that it can be applied there also, not in this application? Sir, I didn't know. So we tried that, experimented that, got the results checked by NML and IIT Kharagpur, and finally filed a patent, and now he is selling his product right and left. So approach, open mind, talking to powerful sources, having relation with standard accreditation laboratories, all these things should be in the back of your mind. But the focus should be on growth. I have to grow. So it is a growth not only by drinking Complan or Horlicks. It's really a tough thing, or just by hanging from a rod. Be oversensitive to customer feedback. Many startups get lost because of a poor customer feedback. And they don't bother. हमको जो करना है मैं कर रहा हूँ, customer का problem है. And often I have seen, not in startups, shops, or in fish sellers, तुम्हारा मछली सड़ा हुआ था. Sir, और किसी ने तो complaint नहीं किया. As if I am the culprit. I bought an ambassador, I had an ambassador 25 years, 30 years ago. I bought a headlight ring from a local shop in Jamshedpur, very big shop. Within 1 month it got rusted. It appeared to be stainless steel, sold as stainless steel, it was a nickel-plated one with very thin coating. I took it to the shop and what he said, sir, ऐसा ही आता है, क्या करें, इसका return refund नहीं होता है. लाया तो ले लीजिए, लेकिन second product भी ऐसे हो. आपका लेना है लीजिए, नहीं तो नहीं लीजिए. If this is a kind of approach, the startup cannot succeed. The customer feedback is a feedback that matters. The hotel where I was put up in Khopoli, decent rooms but terrible service. The lift that used to take me from ground floor to the top floor was so dirty in the floor. The mat was dirty with a lot of papers and garbage there. And I said it on the first day. On the second day, one of the owners of the managers was there. He said, मैंने पूछा, sir, आप ये देखिए, क्या देखेंगे, जानते हैं, उसमें शादी पार्टी में कोई गंदा करता है. And I didn't want to know who did it. But you haven't cleaned it. No, I wanted somebody to come. And there was another funny response. I wanted some curd with aloo ka paratha. I said, curd के साथ बना लिया, मैं थोड़ा चीनी चाहिए. तो बेरा पराठा लेके आया. हम चीनी, सर चीनी लाया, चीनी में वो चिट्टी है. In a hotel, I don't know how many stars it is. It must be 25 stars. Vegetable cutlet, hara bhara kebab hai. I said, they have given a chamcha, I mean spoon, and one fork. I said, I want a knife to cut it. Knife? हाँ, इसके लिए. Sir, हमारे होटल में knife. Dining hall, the bearer said knife नहीं. I said, knife नहीं रखते हो. From there, the manager, I don't know, sir, I'm giving you a knife. I complained to the reception counter. I said, do something. मच्छर काट रहा, 4th floor AC चल रहा, तभी मच्छर काट रहा, कुछ स्प्रे. हाँ सर, अभी दे. आधा कोई नहीं आया. फिर से I was going to call up, then somebody comes with a smiling face, sir, spray. And yes, why so late? Sir, नहीं था, खरीदना पड़ा बाजार से. This is a service. So kind of make my trip on the not. ट्रिप एडवाइजर में जो रिव्यू दिया, तो मैं जान भर के, जी भर के मैं उसका पूरा सत्यानाश कर देता. I would like to forget the experience. I don't know what will happen. But if this is our approach to business, we take it very easy. We take it very easy. I was narrating a story to you or about the pen that Yesterday I narrated the story, that Schaefer pen life story. How many of you were there yesterday? Maybe about 10, 15. My father bought a fountain pen, Schaefer pen, I mean, 1/3 of his income. 75 rupees was his monthly income in 1949. He paid 25 rupees for that pen, Schaefer lifetime. Supposed to be repaired at any time because of mechanical fault. 1949 he dropped from his hand because the cap was loose and the nib got broken. He wrote to Schaefer, they said, "Bhej dijiye, change kar denge." My father being a laid back Bengali like me, so he didn't send it. Hoga. By that time I sun raha hu, ek to pen hai aisa kahani. 79, 30 years down the line, I went to England for higher studies. I took the pen with me, wrote to Schaefer saying that this is a problem. I have the original letter correspondence. They said, "Send it to me." We sent it to USA, Madison, USA. They said, replace that 30-year-old pen with a brand new gold nib Schaefer, which later I checked with a company called William Penn. They sell very good pens in India. They said, "Sir, ये नहीं बनता, 70-80 हज़ार का दाम होगा." वो है. This is commitment. My values. I work for a company called Tata Steel, where we are known for our values. May not be everywhere, but there is a lot of customer orientation and a lot of commitment to customers. Plenty of cases we have seen. Remember that. A few grand startups from India, most of you know these stories. Most of you know. All these names are familiar to you. First of all, Make My Trip, Deepak Kaya from IIT Ahmedabad. Initially started as a small venture. Now it's a worldwide phenomenon. Millions of users. You book your hotel, you book your cab, you book your flight, everything from Make My Trip. Flipkart, Sachin Bansal, Vinny Bansal, IIT Delhi, fighting with Amazon. Nobody ever imagined that they can get such a strong. Zomato is a wonderful, wonderful example. You can read the stories available in net. Deepinder Goyal and Pankaj Chadha regarding restaurants. Initially started with this much of investment. Next year, this much investment. Third year, this much investment. Fifth year, this much investment. Exponentially, maybe to the power 10 kind of investment. Amazing story. In fact, I am never an entrepreneur, but I felt so excited by looking and reading their stories. Red Bus. This gentleman, this funny Sundar, I forget the name, Fanindra Suman or something of that kind. He wanted to go to his hometown and didn't get a bus ticket. Looked for here and there and he found there is a big dent in the market. एक hollow है market में जहाँ bus ticket चाहिए आदमी को लेकिन नहीं मिल रहा. So he made a systematic arrangements and developed that Red Bus is a worldwide phenomenon. You can bus tickets that way. Housing.com. Today, if you want to buy a property, sooner or later, some of you will be buying a property. I'm sure some of you may be already in the process of buying property and acquiring more properties like that. That's a wonderful site where you can go and find out Kopoli mein kya chal raha, Khede mein kya chal raha, Kolkata mein kya chal raha, Pune mein kya chal raha, what are the properties, which are being built, what are the conditions. Wonderful, one stop. InMobi is a mobile advertisement company in China, is the biggest customer. Started from a gentleman called Naveen Tiwari, who are from Harvard Business School, but very much in India. InMobi. Free charge. Kunal Shah and Sandeep Tandon found that everyone has a mobile is almost a viral thing, that everyone is a positive viral thing. Everyone uses mobile and charging, topping up is extremely prevalent and common. Everyone wants to recharge, everyone wants to top up, every week, every month, every hour, something being done. So he made it free and he connected with some other portals or some other companies where if you do the free charge, you get some coupons. So it's a win-win situation. And every cow, happy cow. Aram se chahiye. And advantage. And the customer is benefited. Fine, excellent. But shared it yesterday with you and believe. How many, I can promise you, I got a WhatsApp message, not WhatsApp, a message in Vodafone saying that, Jito, 50 rupees ka free top up. Acha, kya hai, kaise? Tell us, who is the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi or Salman Khan? 50 rupees. When they are doing this kind of marketing, there are customers who will fall for this. None of us will do that. 5 rupiah per SMS.
अगर 1000 हो गए तो 5000 रुपया बेफायदा आ गया, हो गया. So this is a marketing strategy, but this is cashing on the idiocy and the low level of literacy, low level of awareness in the customers.
Remember one very important thing in startups. Dr. Joshi, I will be finishing in 5 minutes. Educate the customers whenever it is possible. Not with a high collar. Answer सुन लीजिए, सीख लीजिए. No, sir, I think this is the real thing. In fact, when we started making automobile sheets for all the auto companies in the world, especially in India, Renault, Tata Motors, Nissan, Toyota, Hyundai, Hero Motors, everywhere we are supplying, Tata Steel was supplying. And we were interacting with them. The amount they learned from us is much less compared to what we learned from them, from the supplier, from the vendor, person, the customer. They would say, no, your steel has niobium stabilization. You should change it to vanadium because niobium is having more of zinc. The zinc weightage should come down when we coat that. We used to do a fuel tank. Anybody who has two-wheeler motorbike, not a scooter, has between the two legs a peculiar bean-shaped fuel tank where the petrol is put in. Do you know what material that is made of? That is steel, no doubt. But petrol is corrosive. Sandeep may be knowing, or professors and students of chemical engineering may know. Dr. Joshi would be knowing as well. The petrol, if you leave it in a steel container, will turn acidic. The pH from 7 will come down to 5 in 1, 2, 3 months. It forms weak acids like formic acid and acetic acid. The CHO compound breaks down and creates mild acid and corrodes the inside of the tank. That's why all the fuel tanks are inside coated. Usually they used to be coated by an alloy called terne coated, T-E-R-N-E, which is about 90% lead, 10% tin, if I remember correctly. Lead was not allowed anymore because it's carcinogenous. So we changed it to some other special coating. And finally, what we really found that this particular material is selling very, very rapidly. People were taking because that was an import substitute. That was an idea that we translated from our laboratory into real manufacture. Customers say, chromated tanks we can accept provided they are not corroding the atmosphere. It is inside with the petrol, it burns away, no problem. But what was our learning? The moment you chromate the tank, the steel refuses welding. The welding junction has to be perfect. In petrol tank, you can't have even a nano-sized leak. So they said, sir, coating तो आपने बना दिया, लेकिन leaks welding नहीं हो. So they used to do localized grinding to remove the chrome coating from that junction area and then weld. And that area used to be painted with some zinc and something to protect from corrosion, further corrosion. That was our learning. So that prompted us to go to a next step, how to get over this problem. That's a different story. So learn from customers. Give importance to feedback. चीनी में चिट्टी है, knife नहीं है, मच्छर वाला heat नहीं है. If that is a kind of approach of a hotel like that where I was put up, Ola cabs, Ravi Shagarwal and Amit Bhatt. Today in Kolkata, you cannot find the yellow-black taxi, yellow taxis. Everything has been taken from Ola and Uber. Previously, they were not allowed, they were outside in airport and station. They have made a separate stand for Ola and Uber. The way the competition is wiped away. Teach for India, Shaheen Mistri. MAD, make a difference. Jitin Nedumara, where Michelle Obama comes and dances with the members of that, make a difference. Dabbawa is the biggest story. अच्छा इसमें फिल्म भी हुआ था ना डब्बा वाला को लेकर amazing सुलभ शौचालय विंध्येश्वर पाठक idea that struck him sanitary napkin Arunachal Muruganathan not him amazing. He is making machinery for making cheap sanitary napkins for rural areas. Amazing wonders. National health and How many of you have heard a word called domino effect? Domino effect. There are dominoes like that. If you put one push like that, tuck, 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 all of them fall down. It's a kind of an effect like that. The kind of domino effect that sanitary napkin is going to create is a general health bill for the country is going to come down. And this is such a simple thing. There was a lot of taboo, gradually it has been going away, but he is almost a crusader, making new cheap machines for making cheap napkins at 1/3 the cost what is available. A few tricks to survive. 2 more slides. Be careful of pitfalls. It is good to run, but at the same time it is good to watch for gaddas and ditches and uneven areas. There will be uneven areas. For funding applications, very, very important, take professional help to make the case. You know that I know my subject better. Professor Ladkar or Professor Joshi cannot help. I am the master. No. Get it from a different person, somebody who is you will see, correct, and take his opinion. Never decide single-handedly. Depend on team dynamics. Depend on team. Keep on value addition and adding new customers. Keep on value addition and adding new customers. That's the way of growth. Focus on emerging needs, not like the servant who brought the khatia for the patient, but what are the need that is emerging? The way that cash flow free charge came up. Mobiles, charging, big bazaar, coupons. Decide on appropriate mentoring from any reliable source. Don't aim big in the beginning until the foothold is strong. Don't try to do hop, step and jump. Take one step at a time. Small, achievable goals. This is the way we should proceed. I don't want to go to hyperlinks again, there will be mess here. What to teach the budding entrepreneurs and startups? There is a link up, I will give this one to you. Modules for entrepreneurs. When you want to have a module like that, sooner or later I'm sure you will do a module, you push 1 day short kind of thing. What are the ideas there? What I got from XLRI before I came, I went to requested one of my professor friends in XLRI, Jamshedpur. I asked him to give me some PowerPoint presentations, but extremely theoretical, but it lays the foundation. Anybody of the faculty members who is conversant with the fundamentals of startups can refer to these 2 references, maybe about 30 each slides there on the fundamentals and definitions, very clearly explained, and that will be extremely helpful for designing your course pattern. TED Talks on Startup. There are quite a number of good TED Talks on Startup. Talks by now. Last one is my investment. I will give the address and contact of Sadashiv Bogre. He is a person in Pune. He has his factory. If you can get him, it will be good. He may not be a good proficient speaker as I am in English, but he can talk in Marathi and all of you can understand. He is good. He's too good because he is genuine. He has a solid matter content. Last slide. This last slide is the first step to me. I finish my lecture by saying this is the first step to me. The last slide is the first step to begin from job seekers to job givers. That's the dream. We should have dreams high enough. We may not reach the stars, but at least we will not fall in the drain or gutters. We should have a high ambition. Thank you very much. Thank you. So the session is this time, I want to hear from you. Questions, doubts, disagreements, examples, you want to share something? I am not an encyclopedia. I have not done a startup myself, but I am familiar with the fundamentals. I know people who have done startups, so I've given some ideas. I will share this presentation with those of you, with Professor Ladkar and Professor Joshi. I'm sure they will make proper use of it and distribute it as a reference. Plenty of material is available in net, but it is far better, 100 times better to hear it from somebody who has done a startup. What I did today is to
activate your brain and to give you some spark, some chingari, so that the spirit of startup. Come to the front, madam, please, please, please come to the front. There is plenty of here. I want to see everyone's face. Behind Tirupati, I cannot see the gentleman here. Just wait. Sandeep, if you don't mind, come this side. Yeah. So, those of you who had attended the lecture that's just now, which finished about 10 minutes ago, on startups, a new saga, I discussed the creativity. I discussed the creativity aspect, the innovation kind of aspect. I discussed what are the natural pitfalls. I discussed how to avoid those pitfalls. I discussed what are the government initiatives here, what are the basic facts of startup in India. And now I want to hear from you. You have your questions. I don't have any more material for me. I have plenty of papers on startups. I can freely distribute that, no problem. But unless there is an interaction, this session is useless.
This can be any question, not
Any question,
to startup.
not only startup.
Yes.
Agreed, as it happened yesterday.
Huh.
Any questions related to your career, related to the institute, related to your life, anything. Whatever my experience is, it's for you to pick on that.
So what kind of model the institute should have to invite the ideas, to support these ideas, and what are the ways of partnering of the institute with such kind of ideas? Ways and means of,
Sir, Samnya,
ways and means of doing the startup, aligning institutes with the startup people, or the ideas, the students, say for example, the institute has certain ideas.
if I
How to
understood-
invite them?
What's your name, please?
Dr. Bharate Danwade.
Dr.
Bharatesh.
Bharatesh. The toughest question comes in the beginning. The first blow is a bumper, is a bimar, or a full, not only full toss, it's a yorker. Good.
I have also come to the certain models. One model, the Nitte Meenakshi College and the Manipal Institute of Technology. What they have done is they have kept a certain amount of money.
I don't
For
want to
this-
hear that. Since I have an unbiased mind, I will answer with my basic knowledge and common sense. Then you can tally it, take it, reject it, mix it. First of all, for any ideas to spring up, generate new ideas, you should have a separate cell in the college which is meant for new ideas. That could be as weird as a transparent steel, or ability to fly. If I want 1, 2, 3, I will be flying from here to that. Any absurd idea, all ideas will be listened to and given proper recognition. That membership of that particular unit, there is one chair for you. Please come. All ideas will be given proper attention. Nobody should feel मेरा idea कोई नहीं सुना. Number one. Membership of that group will be irrespective of designation. It could be the lady who cleaned this floor along with Dr. Joshi or Professor. Nobody should feel I am here and I will say no, you should. No hierarchy, no caste system. You should, and somebody should ensure. Number two. This should be driven by somebody who is passionate about it. Not as a matter of responsibility that every year I will change the person in charge and it will go on rotating to the HOD, to the next to the dean, next to registrar. Not by position. It should be entire. It could be a young entrepreneur and a young lady like that. She is very passionate. Give that responsibility to someone. You have to be very impartial about it. Number one. Number two. That particular unit should have all the rules and regulations for startups available in this country. Absolutely available. So that I don't have to go home and find out from net what are the things available. Somebody should be scanning through the available rules and regulations and making a summary and synopsis and a gist of that, keep it for ready reference so that anybody can come and say, I want to know the rules. If I want to float a company of my own, what shall I have to do? That should be ready. Scanning information and selecting information, summarizing information, filtering information, keeping it ready, handy for available. Number two. Number three is
available rules and regulations and funding kind of thing. You should identify, I do not know how, some mentors. I cannot be a mentor because I have no experience of startup. I know theoretically, I know people who have done startups. I collected from their knowledge, I talked to accelerator professors, I got their ideas, I read, I tried to narrate, combined with whatever little I know. You should have access to people like Sadashiv, extremely busy. Any startup entrepreneur will not have as free time as this old person to talk for 2 days kind of thing. But identify, and from your alumni base, you should try to locate who are the successful startups. Keep a regular touch with them. Send a greetings card. The institute remembers you. Bring me back to this particular topic, and let me give a wonderful example. February 2000, in Tata Steel, we started the galvanizing line. There were 3 years of rigorous preparation, visits, reports, calculations, costing. Finally, we decided on a particular supplier and a cost of about a few hundred crores, I don't know. Remember, the particular line came into reality and we started producing on 8th of February 2000. It's still running. It started with 80,000 tons per year and now it is producing 160,000 tons, though the line capacity is 100. Overcapacity. 3-4 years down the line, when the line was absolutely perfect, it's a big boom, it's not a startup, but the gesture is worth following. What we did, the idea I don't remember, but I implemented the idea. We made a list of the people who had contributed to make this project successful. The people in the project, the people in the election commissioning, the people of the supplier who had come, the people of the contractors who had come. We made a big sheet of collage of the picture of the plant, the factory of the galvanizing plant, and we wrote inside in a decorative fashion that we remember your contribution for making what we are today. And we got it signed by the chief and all those senior people of the department. We signed it a different way. We gave that big colorful card to all those who really made real contribution. I'm sure many of them still have that card. Point is, when you contact your alumni, anybody, I passed out from Yadavpur University in 1972. I was a lecturer there from 76 to 78 and later also as a visiting professor 84-85. I still have some touch with the current head of the department. Anybody and everybody, unless there is a bad memory, will have a soft corner from the institute for that school or the college from where. Somebody from the school or college, if he or she approaches you, so you come to the school and talk to the students. I am sure most of you would love to do that. Most of you. And that is a kind of a satisfaction that people want you. And people means the next generation, where you can keep an imprint that yes, he came and he talked about that. Keep a lively touch. We may not be with hundreds or everybody. Pick out somebody who are nearby, who are approachable, and talk to them, send a card, and send a monthly or 6-monthly newsletter to them, so that there is a meaningful relation. And from time to time, pick on their brain. Sir, if you are around, you come down here and address our faculty. The amount of benefit, intangible benefit that happens through this knowledge sharing is unimaginable. When Tata Steel first launched the cold rolling mill in 2000, for 2 years, every Saturday morning, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, we had a closed door session. After 1 minute past 8, the chief used to lock the door. Anybody who's late is out. It's not wrong. We used to have a knowledge sharing session. Not on cold rolling alone. Success in life. Why did that project fail? What are the new things coming up in communication technology? Opening up the ideas and mindset of the people. So that particular cell that I am dreaming of, I am entirely composing the answer myself now from the base of my experience in Tata Steel and my reading, etc. Not only it has to be classless, casteless.
hierarchy-less, but also it should have members from all strata. There would be only positive discussions, no negation of ideas, and at the same time, it should have all resources within its hand. Not the money, but where to get this information. Somebody responsible will get the information and keep it handy so that nobody comes and waits for 2 days. Up 3 दिन बाद आइए हम बताएंगे क्या. And a continuous culture of knowledge sharing. Maybe you are making fly ash bricks. Maybe. There is nothing wrong for you to talk about new electrical gadgets for interior decoration. Talk to you about that. Different varied topics, technical topics, general managerial topics. Talk about that. General impression through this personal interaction. Google has millions, billions of information. Billions. Do you think it is an effective teaching tool? That's an information tool. It's not a teaching tool. For teaching you need some kind of interaction. आँखों से आँख, दिल से दिल. ठीक? I am not saying mitro, ye man ki baat. I am not saying that. But the question is the personal interaction. This little smile, this little keenness, this little gesture in his hand, the way he is listening, all indicate that he is paying attention. Google said. Even I believe, you may disagree, Kindle में किताब पढ़ने में उतना मजा नहीं है जो actual किताब handle करके maybe I am old, I like it. Modern generation reads in Kindle, but I feel that hard copy book and hard copy writing is far important. Another suggestion, sir, with your permission, not only on startup or his answer, but Zabardash, not that. Whenever you are preparing a lecture note for your class, I cannot see the background. Those who are in the last rows, can you shift to this right side behind the ladies? There is no loss of prestige if you come behind the ladies. Please, come down to this one straight up. I cannot see your faces. I would like to have eye contact. Whenever you prepare lectures looking at net information or kitab, information from books, make it a point to note down. Paper, pen, longhand. Why? Eye retains information, brain retains information. At my age, the brain retention has come down, I can feel that. The moment you involve your muscles, the brain gives direction that see the information that is entering visually, go into the processing center. The processing center is transferring the mechanism to the muscle movement. That is going to hold the pen and that is writing, maybe scribbling. I wish I could show you the kind of scribbles I made before I made the slides. I could have easily borrowed this one and pasted there. No, I had a small yellow pad yesterday which was with me and I wrote down easy kind of thing, scribbles. I translated them. In this way, the mind and the brain takes the information in a better way. The retentivity of the information increases once you implicate or rather involve your hand, eyes, understanding together. And then you translate it to PowerPoint, I have no objection. So coming back to this is you should have a mentor. Identify a couple of mentors. You should keep meaningful contact with select individuals of your alumni. Invite them once in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months to organize this if you are really serious about it. In the longer run, convey it to Dr. Joshi, you should design a module for entrepreneurship. There should be I don't know, 5 module lectures, 10 lectures, 1 day, 5 days, I don't know how much, I don't have an idea. But you should in the long run, that's a way to go because jobs are going to shrink, no doubt about it. Initially our idea was I will take a degree, go out and there will be people waiting, sir, aiye, join kijiye. But here you are the general manager of it. Very tough, very tough. And I feel sorry for people today, whoever approached me, even today for a job in Tata Steel. And I said, the qualifications, sir, वो तो school pass नहीं किया, एक तो job दिला दीजिए उसको. I said, sir, M.Tech लेके, B.Tech छोड़िए, M.Tech लेके बैठा हुआ है. I cannot do anything. I can't even move a hair in getting his entry there. But if your son or daughter or brother or Shala, whoever it could be, has made it to the initial level, has got an interview, I can talk to the person and find out whether he can help in getting, provided he is genuine. That way. Jobs are going to be restricted.
and the kind of automation. Initially, Tata Steel, when I joined, had 68,000 employees all over India. Today, all over the world and all over India, forget about Thailand, Sri Lanka, Holland, Singapore, we have branches and companies there, which we have taken. Not marginal, but we've just taken them in. In Jamshedpur, the number was 48,000. When I retired, the number was 26,000. Not a single man day lost, not a single unhappy soul. We gave wonderful packages to them. And this, I do not know the figure today, I can find out later. But the question is, jobs are going to be restricted. So it is not possible also at the same time everybody to become an entrepreneur. But the question is, keep it in, as I said yesterday, keep it in the hard disk. The moment you are informed, the moment you know that this can also happen, options are open. Keep your antenna sharp and clear. Be receptive to new ideas. So these are the general principles what you can follow to get this going. Interactions with successful entrepreneurs, having a basic sale with these qualifications what I narrated, inviting people from your stock and from outside whenever you get to talk to them, and encourage them in team building, encourage them in improving. I believe you have an English language laboratory or something.
Yes.
I do not know how it functions. I met a couple of gentlemen, or one gentleman in Las, that in front of the guest house, there was an evening meeting we had. I don't know anybody was present there because at that time you were there. And I met a couple of them, or at least one of them, who were in English language laboratory. There is every scope, without knowing how it functions, there is every scope today to improve that, to strengthen that. Trying to find out how is it being done. And, Professor Latkar, is there a system of teacher evaluation here?
Yes.
Do the students do that?
Yes.
How do you collect the feedback from the students? Is it a
Pass
soft
the
copy or is it
hard
hard
copy.
copy?
Hard copy.
Are there names on it? No names. Anonymous feedback. What do you do with that?
It is conveyed as a corrective measure to the faculty.
Summary, and all the things are given to him, or him or her?
All
or summarized.
Means marks are, rating is also given, and positive and negative comments
are also given.
given.
Every year once?
2 times.
Twice a year?
No, 4 times. In a semester, 2 times.
Really? Really? I have an unpleasant question for all teachers here. It's all teachers here, I believe.
Yes.
I requested the principal to be out of the room, just for the reason that I want it to be as frequent as, I hope they are not scared of you. Okay. Do you think these feedbacks help? How many of you think that these feedbacks are really very helpful? I have 3 options, raise your hands. The feedbacks are very helpful, the feedbacks are helpful, the feedbacks are okay, the feedbacks are useless. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very helpful, helpful, oh, chalta hai, okay, and they should not be there. Very helpful. How many? 1, 2. Helpful. Mostly. Okay. How many? I want to know. It's useless. Is there anybody else? Be free. I will not, and nobody, Dr. Latkar, Professor Latkar, don't look at that. Who is doing that? Please, don't look at him. He's trying with almost an eagle's eye. So I will talk to you later. Please, I hope, I don't want to know that. How can this be made more effective? Those of you think, my request to you. In fact, Latkar, I don't know why I have developed a loving relation with this institute. I know it's far from Jamshedpur, but I feel it's my own institute. I come, whenever I get a chance, I will come. Even Sandeep was saying, sir, jab bhi mauka mila dekha. I love it because you listen to me so carefully. Possible. Possible. Can you give some suggestions, anonymous or with your name, to the principal, to the trustee? Sir, feedbacks are good, but I believe this can be made more effective in this manner. It's a very healthy mechanism. If someone points out, which my wife often does, your dress sense is very poor.
So whenever you go to a particular public function, tell me which dress you should put on. So I often do that. If I don't do that, so I get my dose, what I supposed to, which I deserve. Take a feedback, take it constructively, put a suggestion. I am sure the kind of wonderful trustee body with Dr. Gokhale that you have, they will pay heed to you. And this feedback system will evolve. If you think marks are bad, it should be great, fine. If you think constructive criticism are good, then fine. If you think negative criticism shouldn't be there, put it up. There should be somebody at the team, at the top, who will decide. Make this feedback system effective. Where were I?
Yes, it's over. But I have the two questions from the earlier session.
Please.
That when the steel prices opened up,
90s, mid-90s.
so what were the advantages and disadvantages at that point of time?
Very good question.
I have 1 minute. I have another question. Why Tata Steel started supporting the startups?
It did not start supporting startups at that point. It is only very recently they are now stressing on innovation. We have another innovation cell, and very recently about 2-3 years ago, they have formed a separate section in Kolkata Data Center that is called New Materials. And the Vice President has been brought from Holland. He was Dr. Debashish Bhattacharjee, was in Holland as a director of R&D. He was brought in as the head Vice President of that section of New Materials, non-steel business. Because diversification, variety is important not only for a person in his life, as I was saying yesterday, developing into this, but also for a business to thrive and flourish. You need to have experience in related fields. I'm not starting textile mill, Tata Steel, but I am starting on metals, but non-steel metals. It's not non-ferrous metals, but composites. Dr. Joshi's field, composites, materials that will have new generation, electronic materials, automobile materials. A normal auto body, Maruti, Alto, Hyundai, i2, i10, i20, weighs around, any guess, how many kilograms? Any guess? No prize, no penalty. Any guess? How much does a car weight? Quick.
800 kg to
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. You know that one. 700 to 800, and there is a continuous target to reduce it. We call it de-gauging. D-E-G-A-U-G-I-N-G. De-gauging. Thickness of the chadar is reduced, but the strength value is remained. Because the steel that is used in the bonnet of the car is interstitial free steel, IF steel, which is almost pure iron. You will be surprised to know the bonnet or the body or the door is nearly pure iron, is not steel. We call it steel because steel is nothing but iron with carbon. And carbon percentage in an auto body, even in the fuel tank of a motorbike, is in the range of 20 to 40 parts per billion. And that changes. That makes iron as a soft but strong steel, interstitial free steel. And now these are facts with which you may say, what shall I do with knowing how much carbon is there? Fine. But so long your mind and antenna is sharp and fine and receptive, at this age I feel excited. Just 20 ppm, parts per million, and that changes the property. Yes, it is rust. It's not rust proof. We give 7 coats of paint and treatment, 1000 kind of things like that. My request to all of you, keep your sense of curiosity and excitement alive. Get excited by new facts. May not be to your field. So right. I had a stomach upset, and I was, it's a bit sensitive topic, but still, I had contacts with very good doctor friends, and my first cousin is also a senior doctor, he's 75. I asked him,
can you explain through me, seriously, no joking, what causes the stool to form and why it is unformed? When it is unformed, it is a liquid stool we are passing. Why? Is it only the food or there are other things? He explained in details. I felt excited. I never knew that. And he explained, yesterday I was coming in the car and I asked the same question to Dr. Gokul. He explained with the peristaltic movement and the length and the kind of enzymes role, etc. I felt I knew a new thing. I never thought, "Eta jene ki hobe, kya hoga ye pata karke mera kuch nahi hoga, kya banega." That is your death. I used to do a lot of quizzing. Till 2010-12 I used to do national quiz, international quiz, science quiz in particular. And one of my young friends in Tata Steel asked me, Manish, I remember, I don't recognize this. Doc, आप तो बहुत क्विज में इतना जाते हैं, क्यों? I enjoyed it. But क्या मिलता है? I was confused. क्या मिलता है? हम छोटा मोटा गिफ्ट देता है, थोड़ा कप, टेबल क्लॉथ, 4-5 हो गया वाल क्लॉथ, और कुछ, थोड़ा फ्लावर बुके, बस इसके लिए आप इतना मेहनत तकलीफ उठाते हैं? I really felt serious. I never thought inside because I was doing it. I said, Manish, another thing, yes. I come in contact with a lot of young children and a lot of new people. I like contacts, I like talking to people. That was exciting. तो आपका इंक्रीमेंट बढ़ता है क्या टाटा स्टील? टाटा स्टील इंक्रीमेंट का तो सवाल ही नहीं, वो तो अलग चीज है. How can the increment be affected? So I said there is a lot of things that I come to know. Finally, that was my last defense. That lot of things I read, lot of new information I collect, I enjoy that. Does it help you in Tata Steel? No, it does not. So, in that case, I don't know. Sorry. So he was totally disappointed with my answer. But I was very happy that he was disappointed. And I was very happy. And I continued that maybe after continued for 10 years for doing quiz in IITs and different places. I enjoyed it. I still have the file, etc. Get hard copy kind of. My dear friends, seniors, juniors, colleagues, whoever it is, see that your spirit of curiosity remains active. And try to create, is Dr. Buddha there? Not today, yesterday. He's in mathematics department. I told him a story yesterday. I was talking a story. Oh, yes, that. We're talking a story of an Neperian logarithm, Charles Napier, who discovered his Neperian logarithm. He was a businessman. He bought an island. He did logarithmic calculations, and he found that I have to do something. Thus, 10 years, he finished. So this kind of interesting stories to generate curiosity in the students, whatever subjects you teach. I believe every subject has stories which you can make, find out. Abhi to Google again. Okay, stories about this one. Startup, the story I gave, there were 350,000 stories of startups, interesting stories. And example I gave from Bharat's family, that bacha, Shlok, asking why is there no alphabet after 26th alphabet. And that 6-year-old guy could split the shoelace into two and say, "Kaam to chal gaya." This is innovation. Encourage in yourself, in your students, in your children. Sir.
Steel prices. Maybe
Steel
we will
price.
stop after this.
No, fine. Sorry, I went to that. The direction is for surviving in business. There is stiff competition in steel. Jindal has come up in a very big way and is proving to be a better competitor producing better product than steel in many sectors. JSW in particular.
I'm specifically asking about opening of the prices.
The prices, when they opened up, the good thing that happened is that you know that I have to survive. Labda ji, aap shayad wo poster dekhe honge. Every morning, this animal wakes up in Africa to run. He runs for life. And the tiger runs for his food. He also runs for life. The deer, Hiran, he also runs for life. He knows that the tiger knows unless he gets the deer, he cannot survive, it will die. The Hiran, that deer knows that if he cannot fly away, then he will die. So it's a survival of the fittest. So the competition has forced Tata Steel to think of new vista. It is not like an afternoon chair drinking a cup of coffee and Ratan Tata thought, we will do something new. No. Even Nano is another innovation, another startup. When he thought that when 3 or 4 people can start on a bike, why can't I produce a 1 lakh car? That it didn't succeed miraculously is a different story. I still have a Nano for 5-6 years. I'm extremely happy with it. Extremely happy with it. She drives it, fine. But the question is, opening up of steel price definitely helped. The tarazu is more towards positive side because it created competition everywhere. That without a competition, you don't feel the urge to do better. It depends not only how you perform, it depends how he performs. Then I know my performance. In joint entrance examination or IEEE or all these examination, your scoring high marks or getting a chance in IIT, NIT or whatever place it may be, does not depend on how you perform. It depends on how others perform as well. So you have to be strong, but at the same time you cannot control others' performance. So you have to be at your best. So Tata Steel tried not only to develop new products, which we are trying, strong grades, as Professor Bhartesh said, that car weight is coming down actively because we want strong steel, thinner steel. And thinner steel means lower weight of the car. Lower weight car means lower carbon dioxide, carbon footprint will come down. Environmental, this pressure started coming up. All the regulations of environmental regulations are coming in a very big way. So we have to think of new products. We have to think of new applications of products. We have to think of new treatments of products. Hexavalent chromium treatment, which is supposed to be carcinogenous, has to go away. We are thinking of trivalent chromium. Trivalent chromium passivation, not as effective. Go to organic coating. So we are now doing pipe with organic coating. No lead, no chromium, with organic coating. How much is the duration? How long will the customer accept it? So this was a pressure from customer. Pressure from the customer when the market opens up. The moment we realize that American customers, European customers will not accept my chromated material. So I have to think of something else. Or I'll close that. No, I don't want to export. यहाँ तो पूरा धक्का ज़्यादा, दबाव ज़्यादा. 4 competitors producing better product, and an ethical company like Tata Steel will honor its ethical values, will honor the pollution control restrictions. There are many companies, I can absolutely, the name is here, I won't want to name, which absolutely give a damn to their rules. And even that famous company, I'm sure 80% of the people know the name of that company, not Jindal, some other company. Agar kuch हेराफेरी कुछ हुआ और the person who was trying to be very strict in his principle, उसको छात पे लेके छात से गिरा के मार डाला, ये भी हुआ. More than one case. A famous steel company. Everyone knows his name. Not Jindal, not SR. So, if I have my values and integrity of that standard, I cannot survive for long. The brand image that Tata Steel today has, because of ethical values, because of high-priced product, because of brand image, and because of guaranteed customer support. So the need, it opened up the market, opened up the competition, made us stronger. If you cannot survive, get lost. Sure, Babu. Sir, yes, Tirupati, please.
There are 2 questions.
Please. You never has one. You never have one. So it always comes in. Please.
Sir, whatever you are talking, that is all philosophy.
Of course, yes.
And
And
philosophy
useless?
No, it doesn't mean. But what the frustration, like the person who was like in 30 and 35, I yesterday read one article in newspaper that average age of 35 people are frustrated, saturated because they don't want to do anything, and what they want to do, that is what the biggest question. So what I mean to say is, whatever you are talking about, transparency, commitment, rules, gratitude and all this, and it will be create the money and it will be do like that and that. See sir, competency, how can we create the competency and how can we inculcate the values? That is what very important.
Values, individual values.
Individual values.
Very
Because without that it cannot be
Tirupati,
happened.
the answer will be again philosophical.
So that is why, that is
Because
what,
I cannot give you a tablet today.
see sir, that is
This
what.
is competency tablet. This is value tablet.
See, you are talking, you talk 2 things, one is JSW and other is Tata Steel. See, Tata Steel or Tata is in our veins. See, Tata is, everyone know that is, he is in our veins, that what is the Tata?
Benchmark, is a benchmark.
So, you cannot alternate the Tata with another one.
Fine.
And
I gave only an example. I'm not asking you to compete or compare with
No, no,
Tata.
what I mean to say is that how it will come to an individual, that is what first question. And second question,
Yes, second question.
second
Mind,
question
I
is
got
that
the first question.
belongs to Tata, belongs to startup or belongs to student. As a student or as a teacher, sir, first thing, there are two things every student have. I asked this question before this also, some of the other dignitaries. Wondering and curiosity, these are the two things to define a student.
Good student.
Good student.
Good student.
But it is forgotten all over the academics. How it should be regenerated.
I have a clear answer to this. I have a clear answer. Very clear, very defined. Did any one of you, I think Sandeep, you were there. Last year when I talked on 1st of January possibly to that Rotary school, were you there?
I was there.
You were there. Tell me if I am wrong. Sunday afternoon, 1st January, 2nd January last year, 17. I talked to 65, 70 students, boys and girls, in the age group of say 12 to 14, 15, 16. The kind of discussions, the science is fun, experiments, puzzles, the entire group, maybe barring a few exceptions, was so excited and so very in synchronization with me that I felt that if there is somebody who can take the legacy from here and keep this excitement alive, motivation, curiosity, interest can be taken ahead. Very difficult to sustain on its own. My promise to myself to do morning walk every day dies every week. I start within 2 days, कुछ ना कुछ बहाना. कल रात तो 2 बजे से, आज सुबह नहीं उठना चाहिए. We need to have 7 hours sleep minimum because doctors say. आज तो मेरा क्लास है 9 बजे से. So if I wake up at 6 o'clock, then I will feel sleepy in the class. So I think I should not do that. Hundreds of excuses I make to myself, not to my wife or anybody else. So you need a strict discipline regime for yourself. Now if you ask me how to do that, I don't know. You ask yourself. Your discipline and our discipline will be different. But this is something, one thing I can tell you. If you follow a routine for 21 days without any break, which I started writing a blog in Bangla at night. Several times every year I start in January, every night. Major thing, something that touched my heart. I started on 26th of January. 17 days, another 4-5 days. Every night before I go to bed, I feel like, where is the new diary that I have? I feel like, I hope I will be able to continue this. A discipline, self-discipline, nobody can help you from outside. And a discipline, ability to restrain yourself for tendencies which just distract you, can bring you back. True, a startup cannot compare with a Tata image or a Jindal image. But to define individual, to develop individual values, I am a Gandhian on that point. Gandhi said, it is individual from where the change should start. Lot of social scientists say, no, there should be a social revolution, there should be a change from the top. Shantanu Chakrabarti does not believe that. You ask my advice, I will say it starts with me. I will correct myself, and it will not be easy. You will be ridiculed, you will be kicked in the back, in your face, you will be kicked in your groin, you will be driven out. What happened to Satyendra Dubey in that, the person who was martyred? Hundreds of examples. So it is difficult. I do not know the solution. There is no unique solution. But somebody at Ramakrishna Mission Maharaj told me, I am not asking you to be selfless person. Be a person with less. I am not a charity donor that I am doing for everybody else. I don't mind. I don't want any money. No, I want it. But I am not greedy. So restrict your requirements. Articulate your ambitions and objectives.
Also for startup and also for yourself. Arunachalam, when he did that, has anybody seen that Padman movie?
Yeah.
Have you? How's it? Should be good. I have yet to see it. I'll go back to see Akshay Kumar. So when you think that I will do something, stick to it. That reminds me. Sir, I will finish with this one. This book, उसका नाम भी लिख के रखो. It has just come out 6 months back. It may not be available in India till now, but even if it is 1,000, 5,000 rupees, you should get this. Wright brothers, biography by David. I may be wrong in the spelling of Maclough. MACLOUGH, बहुत सारे फालतू लेटर्स हैं इसमें. क्या करें? French one of spelling होगा. Wright brothers autobiography. I read this when I was with my daughter in San Francisco for the last couple of months in November, December. One of our neighbors, American, Jeff. His name was Jeff. We were talking of something, and suddenly we talked about aeroplanes, and he said, "I have a biography of Wright brothers. Are you interested?" Honestly speaking, believe me, I got scared. I'm scared of fat English books. Bangla kitab, no problem. English books, no, I will not be able to finish it. He brought it. 300-page book. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you very much. So I'll take it before dinner or after dinner. I was gradually sucked in. The biography of these two people who did that fight. I have goosebumps today to say the amount of tenacity, the amount of failures they had, amount of loss they suffered, amount of injury they had suffered. The first brother, Wilbur Wright and Orville, Wilbur died at the age of 46. Couldn't take the stress. They broke their arm, they broke their ribs, they broke their spinal cord. Still they grew up. They had money, fine. They had a supporting family. So what you need is supporting structure to encourage. For 5, 10 years, 9 years, they did that experiment and finally were confident. And today you know where we stand. I will finish this session from a little anecdote from that story that ignites my spirit even at this age. They had a father, Bishop Wright. He was 80 when Wilbur and Orville were at the pinnacle of success, peak of success. Plenty of money, plenty of recognition, plenty of appreciation, certificates, money, business, everything was growing. Interested people from Germany and England called them, just demonstrated their flights. It was maybe at the 7th or 8th year of their journey, their father said, "Wilbur and Orville, would you mind to take me out in your flight in that grossly, crudely made aeroplane?" I said, "Papa, why not?" That was the first time after maybe hundreds of people have boarded their flight along with Wilbur and Orville. Both the brothers flew with him and he took the bishop there. That 80-year-old man, a supportive father as he can be, only word he uttered during that flight is, "Wilbur, Orville, take me higher, take me higher, take me higher." Ambition, atmosphere, ambience, encouragement. I will answer your question when we meet in the evening. I have a special session with you. Fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. If my lecture is of any importance, any value, I am grateful. I could enjoy. I didn't see very many sleeping eyes at all. So that I don't have to stress my voice. Main document was published by Narendra Modi ji, 1st January 2016 in the Science Congress. And subsequently the other roadmaps are being published. I think by now about 4 or 5 have come out. What are the areas, what are the challenges, what are the dreams that we have, and what are the shortcomings that we have at this point of time. Be aware of that Vision 2035. Those of you who have the bad habit of reading books or finding out net, look for Vision 2035, Department of Science and Technology. You will find a lot of information there and allow you to dream. It will allow you to dream. Now this particular concept
This particular lecture was made exactly a year ago, less than a year ago, maybe 10 months ago, for National Metallurgical Laboratory, because even though it's a Council of Scientific and Industrial Research Laboratory, CSIR laboratory, they wanted their engineers or their scientists, not engineers, to be ready with the concepts of energy audit as well as life cycle analysis. Today I was ready for energy audit lecture, but since the principal Dr. Joshi asked me that if you are ready with life cycle analysis, it would be more relevant because energy audit is still now more or less, many of us are, please come, many of us are familiar with energy audit, they have known that they know the terminology, they know their implication, application, etc. But today, this is the first slide, gentlemen, please come. Today, the topic today being LCA. What I will do in the next 40-45 minutes, I have 45 slides, most of them are picture slides, not much of theory. Pay your attention, try to grasp the idea behind it. As I said yesterday, I think you asked me or Dr. Mangesh asked me that how to cover the syllabus. Here also I am not covering any syllabus on LCA. What I will do, I will uncover a part of LCA. What is it? Why is it used? Where is it used? What the future talks about it? And how we should be ready for it. So I am just making just a formal introduction. Little bit more than a handshake, little bit hug with the topic. We begin with problems. If we have painful problems, then our solutions are imminent. If we are healthy, we don't take any medicines. If we are healthy, we don't do any exercise. If we are in problem, then we go to doctor, go to hospital. Many products are thrown away. Take a bottle of water. Half of the water drunk, less thrown away. All full water drunk, throw away the water. Diapers for babies. Once used, only for once, thrown away. Ballpoint pens, use and throw. Previously, we used to get refills. Nobody uses refill, use and throw. Fountain pens, out of question. About 2 years back, I was buying some fountain pen ink in a local Kolkata shop. And the shopkeeper looked at me very quaintly and he said, this is an old man, we can buy fountain pen. He said, what color? I said, black or blue? Blue. He asked me, black or blue? I said, blue. I paid 20 rupees and bought a 60 milliliter of fountain pen ink. When I was going out, I found two young ladies, somebody like you or even younger, and she, what is that? Because they have never seen fountain pen ink, they were hard to see. So that was the thing I won't forget. The shopkeeper was saying, this is called ink, we call it kali. Painted kali, we use it for writing. They have not seen a fountain pen that it has to be clean, poured, wiped, and then again, so that's the thing. A lot of things are thrown away. I was talking to somebody yesterday, I think in Popoli. We grew up with steel buckets, galvanized steel buckets. And जो बचपन में class 2 में देखा था, second year में भी वही same bucket use हो रहा. And here every 2 years, my wife tells me bucket पुराना हो गया, handle पूरा टूट गया, plastic से भी गुजार सकते हैं. So this is the thing. Life goes, permanent things are going. Waste stream, they are just increasing the waste load. If waste from production includes emissions, this is not the waste alone. Waste includes emissions, solid and liquid residues that cannot be put to a useful purpose. Then the question comes, can we not make a waste which will make a product which will not produce a waste? We have grown up in our childhood, we had a woolen sweater which was worn by my first bada cousin, bada chacha ka beta. He's now a doctor, he's now 75. He passed it on to his sister, which is 3 years younger, she passed it on to next sister, she was 3 years younger. She passed it to me at 2 years younger. So I passed it to my younger brother who was 3 years younger. So one sweater worn by 5 of them. Today you can't even, you will not give it to your children. Why? I can buy it. What is happening? Fine. You are generating more waste. It goes to maybe a charity center, old age home, some village who needs it. But it doesn't have that prolonged life, so we are increasing the waste load. What options are available for dealing with the waste generated by modern industrial society? I think all of you are aware of the fact that a society's level of economy can be judged from the dustbin check. In environment, there is a term called dustbin check. From the quality of the dustbin products, you can find out what is the level of the economic level. Dustbin check in Hiranandani Gardens and dustbin check in a Khopoli slum or somewhere in Lote Parshuram, they will be immensely different. They throw away much more things than we do. Here we get something, even in our locality, we try to make maximum use of boxes, plastic packets, dhaga or strings, tuta fata kapda. Even there is an undergarment which is clean but torn. We wash it and use it for cleaning, trying to reuse. All these things are very, very pertinent for this topic today. Factors affecting product life, very interesting slide. I have already shared it with Dr. Joshi. I'll give it to you also, and I'll to you so that you can take it. This is a reference which all of you can have. One is physical life, breakdown. I had a shoe, the sole has come up. I have a camera, the lens has gone out. I have a pen, whose leaf has broken, or the cap is out of order. I have a mobile which is corrupt, breakdown, wear and tear, damage. Technical life. Audio cassettes. How many have played audio cassettes? How many of you? Still, ghar pe hoga kuch? I have about 350. I still have a machine which plays them, but nobody repairs it. No new machine are available. It's all then CD. Even CD is also out of that. Slide rule. We never had calculators. We used to do it. How many of you have seen slide rules? You have seen. I can imagine. Telegraphs. CT or Central Telegraph Office in Calcutta wound up their business 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Khatam. Cassette. Ikmek cooker. Gramophone disc. Record. Single lens reflex camera, SLR camera. The film, one shot, wind up the roll. Many of you might have handled. I had 3 or 4 in my almirah, in cupboard. Technical life is gone. In the office where I worked in Calcutta from 83 to 89, the gentleman, Mr. Talukdar, was in charge of facts. Kya leda tha? Kya bana leda? I go now, afternoon. Talukdar, this is important facts to have some other jobs too. Well, most hard joke. He was a junior officer, but the kind of mastani, hirogiri he used to do, because he had the facts bejna hai na. And good that he retired long ago before the facts went out of date. Legal life, gutka, polyvax, chromium 6, hexavalent chromium, asbestos, by rule, by law, by stipulation, not at all. Different kinds of life. Now, whenever you look at the product's life ending, you can now judge with these categories for what is the reason for which it is getting out of the circulation. Next. Economic life, fountain pen, inland letter, envelopes. Somebody came to me about 10 years ago, Shantanu, do you have a postcard with you? Because my daughter has a project in school where they wanted to show old methods of communication. Postcards and envelopes, and I don't know whether still air letter milta hai kya post office mein air letter inland milta hai. Loss of desirability. Dhoti, sari, snow. The only lady, do you know what is the snow? Cream and snow. In our time it was snow. It was a foundation kind of thing, not so oily, but that used to be a base for a top coat of whatever you want to give on the top of that. For if you put powder on your cheek, it will not stick. It will naturally be, if it is moist with pasina and perspiration, it will not. So you put some snow, it has a dull kind of matte surface, you put powder on top. Snow was very popular. I remember my mother, the only thing she never used lipstick or anything, she used to have snow. Acha. Walkman.
You remember the zamana of pitch? गाना चल रहा ट्रांजिस्टर हाथ में लेके गांव में पूरा फुल वॉल्यूम में चल रहा है. The person who is walking the road. I have seen this scene. पूरा वॉल्यूम चल रहा है. Even I remember when the mobile came, I had to see off my daughter from Bombay Airport. Flew from Kolkata to Mumbai, and Mumbai saying she was taking off. No, we came by train, I think. Couldn't afford by airfare. Everybody, that was 2005 or 4, sporting a new mobile kind of thing. 2003, 4 kind of thing.
So this is the kind of loss of desirability. And today, I wear dhoti at home, dhoti. Normally, right from the age of 12 till today, that's my normal. And when I go out with a dhoti and a shirt or a kurta to the local shop or to the local temple or to a local mobile charging station, somebody asks, "Kuch kriya kand hai ghar pe? Koi bada bada to nahi hai?" I say, "Oh Bhagwan, dhoti ka saath death and shraddh and puja paठ ho gaya." So I can't change it, sorry. Transistor, functional life, letter opener, photo developer tank, tiffin box, maybe some form or other plastic. I carried my 5-year engineering career with an aluminium tiffin box, opened up, took roti sabji, bread, butter, whatever mommy used to make for me. So different kinds of affecting factors on product life. You are not going to be an expert in LCA, neither am I. But once you are aware of the end of a life, this will help you to identify why is it ending. Gentlemen and ladies, this is a very common conflict. Any country which develops on energy consumption, on production, improvement of GDP, industrialization, more of energy use, be it thermal energy, hydroelectric energy, electrical energy, nuclear energy, automatically environment has to be created. Always there is a controversy. There are areas where you can work towards more energy consumption, more efficient energy consumption, less of damage. It cannot be damage. Energy generation is bound to generate bad effects on the environment. I already explained what is a dustbin check. Allowing the compositions to be segregated, constituents, and finding out what does it contain. What is the calorific value? What is the carcinogenous value? What is the reusable value? You know the 3 kinds of reuse, recycle, and reduce. Reduce the consumption if you can. Next is, if you cannot reduce, then reuse the material. Next, if you cannot do that, or rather if you can do that, recycle the product. I am very proud to share with you a practice that we follow at home. In the kitchen, in one corner, we have a big bora, big bosta, thela. Any kind of plastic material like water bottles, finished ballpoint pens, some damaged kitchen utensils with plastic, we dump it there. Milk packets, we dump it there after. In about a month, we have almost a bag full, 1 foot by 1 foot, 2 feet by 2 feet by 1 feet kind of thing, full. We take it to the Randiwal, who processes it. We don't bother how much he gives. I know it is going to the right place. It is being recycled. It will go there. Another thing I have done, we have done. I have kept an empty big cotton thela. It looks like a pillow, normal, cylindrical. And there I put any kind of reusable plastics, we put it there. Gradually it moves like that, and whenever I have to throw away my kachra or somebody pack something, take out, and whenever I go to the local shop to buy potatoes or mircha or milk, I don't take on principle any plastic. Of course, for the last 2 months, plastic has been banned in Jamshedpur. Some of them are giving cotton, that kind of the bags, or some of them are giving plastic. You understand what I mean? 3 basic questions, fundamental questions, gentlemen and ladies. Now I can say ladies. There is no one. Why don't you come here to the front, madam, please? I feel more tuned to the audience if I give her closer.
This happens not only for LCA, this is a generic set of three questions. The way population in the world is increasing, in India it is increasing, in Maharashtra it is increasing, everywhere. The trends are different. The slope, the tan theta is different, you all know. Delta, height by base. The energy demand is increasing. We need more energy. No doubt. Nobody will question. Now, first question is, therefore, can the energy demand of energy and resources be met? I can do a calculation. Number of people in the world is X. Average energy demand in USA, Scandinavian countries, and in Bhutan, Nepal, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Myanmar is this. More or less, you do a weighted average system and calculate this is the average per head energy requirement. So for the entire X population, the total energy requirement will be so much gigawatt. Watt, of course, is the power. Gigawatt hour, whatever is energy. So it will require resources, be it hydroelectric, be it wind, be it diesel, be it coal, be it oil shale, be it wave energy, be it tidal energy, be it electrically nuclear energy. Energy demand has to be met. Next question. Can this be tolerated? Can the atmosphere, the sea as a big reservoir, can it absorb that? This is also scientifically answerable. But for the third question, I am sorry, Mr. Tirupati, I have to be philosophic because the third answer is a philosophical question. Sorry. Should it be tolerated? Should it be tolerated? The moment the should comes, philosophy comes, policy comes, vision comes. Should it be tolerated? These are three questions that can fit in any kind of topic related to energy, materials, environment, sustenance, sociology. These are three basic questions which I require everybody to put it as an undeletable function in your head and ask this in many cases of new decisions. What is LCA? Okay. LCA is life cycle assessment. Life cycle assessment, as I wrote here also. It is the study of resource consumption, emissions, and their impacts. How do we consume the resource? How do we tackle the emissions? And what are the impacts of the emissions? Using something is good for us, I know. But at the same time, when you take chicken, for example, in your lunch or dinner, or even in snacks, you are happy. The product has gone into your system. But the waste product generated from the body of the animal, where does it go? We have never thought about it. What happens to that? The shopkeeper collects it and dumps it somewhere. It's bad. It's bad. It's very bad for the environment unless you have a formal, defined process of tackling this waste generation. This is only chicken. We will see many examples. The process required to make, to manufacture, to use, and to dispose of the product are analyzed. Manufacturing, usage, and disposal. We are mostly concerned with usage. Whether work done. How do you dispose of it? Are analyzed to determine the raw material, energy, waste, and emissions from the product during its full life. In fact, this is the sum and substance, this is the heart of my entire presentation. This is life cycle assessment. I will give you some examples, not with mathematical formulae, but with some examples drawn from everyday life, that what are the ways we analyze a particular product for its manufacturing energy consumption, usage energy consumption, disposal energy consumption, how this is done. We will see that. I was very much surprised and I won't say shocked, but surprised to see, while traveling in UK, in England, maybe about 7-8 years ago, 2009 or 12, maybe. I saw in train, while going by train, a huge area, as big as almost this institute, or half of it, loaded with old cars. I asked my British friend, he said this is a common junkyard of old disposable cars. They store it in one area. They don't have roadside motor mechanic, Joe score, revamp, reuse, recycle. No, he doesn't do it. I understand there's a method. And for dumping it there, every car owner has to pay a fee. So that money goes as a seed money, and the agency that tackles that and takes out the metal, non-metal, hazardous, non-hazardous material, that was 10 years ago, not 2012, maybe 2003. 1981, in one of the city in London, North London, I was putting up with my relative's house, and I found a car in fire. All the Jala rock, burnt out car. I asked my relative, Shubhrata, what is this? Why? How did it catch fire? He said, well, it didn't catch fire. It was set on fire. I said, why? Well, the owner of the car didn't want to pay that money for dumping it there. So he lit it up, put petrol during night and jal gaya. Maybe fire brigade came or no, I don't know. But the main purpose was to save the money, and somebody will clean the ash, and that was way back in 89 kind of thing. I'll just close this, switch it off. I didn't. Fine. So this is LCA, and I would request you, I will share this one with Professor Joshi and Professor Latkar. You can take it. Why do an LCA at all? Assess the environmental impact. As we all know, as we discussed in the morning also, the restrictions of environment are becoming stricter. It will be more strict in the days to come. So we have to be careful about environment. Conserve non-renewable resources. Petroleum, crude petroleum, coal, natural gas, even oil shale. All these are non-renewable fossil fuels, we all know that. Conserve them, reduce their costs, reduce their usage, so that we can see a longer life and we get more time to develop alternatives. Today, wind power is playing a very important role all over the world, all over the world. And at 1979, when I was a student of energy conservation in England, we read that the oil and fossil fuels are not going to last beyond 2020. 2020 is 2 years away, and now the predictions say it will be 2050. Because new exploration techniques have come up. We are getting more resources, no doubt, but at the same time, efficiency of units have also improved. A car going 25 kilometers per liter or 20 kilometers per liter, our 5-year-old Nano gives us about 18 kilometers per liter in city. It was unthinkable. The Ambassador that I bought third hand in 1989 before coming to Tata Nagar, Jamshedpur, he used to give me 7 or 8 kilometers per liter. Of course, petrol was 8 rupees per liter at that point of time. So, resources are getting longer life, but new technologies are also coming up. Maximize recycling of materials and waste. 40 tons of waste per person per annum, it's a British or a European figure, if I remember correctly. It will be less in underdeveloped or developing countries, because we try to make maximum use of it. Prepare environmental product declaration for customer. This is important. Even if you are doing a startup, or even if you are working for Tata Steel or Telco or high-tech radiators or anywhere, there will be many customers who will ask for a life cycle cost declaration, or what are the materials, how do you allow it to dispose of, what are the precautionary measures to be taken in disposing. Use it as a decision-making tool. It is coming up as a decision making very soon. 5 years, 10 years down the line, many of the young engineers who pass out, by the time they are established in their working life, this will be almost a mandatory thing. May not be a BIS, specification will come. I will request you, it will be difficult for the last bench owners because the font size is a bit small. What is a product life cycle? Raw material, material manufacture, getting the material ready, making the product, use the product, dispose the product. And at each step, you are red are inputs, energy, raw material. Here it is waste and emissions. There is some sub-loops here. Product manufacturing from the usage, product reuse here, material recycling from here. This is a circuit, a loop diagram which is to be studied to understand. When you have this particular pattern, this template in your mind, you will be heavily, happily, comfortably able to analyze any kind of production cycle. And where does LCA find? Areas covered by LCA. Raw materials. You get the raw materials, you make steel, get the steel ready, make the car, send it to retail outlets, use the customer buys the car, drives it, goes on long drive, enjoys his life, goes to office, comes back home, gets serviced properly. Then after 5, 10, 15 years, not even 15 years these days, maybe 10 years, he changes it, goes to a new one, the old car goes to the second person, maybe a third person. After that, the steel goes to steel remelting. The other parts are often wasted, they are landfill, they just get lost. And material, energy, transport, all these things are inputs. These are outputs, undesirable outputs, solid waste, other release, water effluents. There may be some usable products coming out of it as well. Coming out of it. For example, I give you an example of a usable product. In making cold rolled steel, we are taking the hot rolled steel and pickling it with hydrochloric acid. And once the surface is clear of oxidation marks, dirt, oil, then it goes for rolling from a thicker section, it becomes thinner section. It goes for further surface preparation, goes for coating, etc. But that hydrochloric acid tank, which is cleaned outside, generates a lot of iron particles, oxides. These are taken out of the acid. There is an acid regeneration plant. You understand ERP very well. That way. And the acid goes back as a top-up thing. We do 99% reuse. It's only less than 1% fresh is only top-up. Recycling and reusing. And that particular iron particles does not go waste. It is not dumped. It is used as a raw material for paint making, pigments making, floor, red floor जो होता था ना लाल कलर का जो नीचे जो होता है. It goes to Tata Pigments company and they use it buys from us. Red oxide, sorry sir, I forgot the name. Red oxide. It goes red oxide. And then again, there are manufacturers of ferrite magnets. They buy it from us. They take it, they process it there. Zinc is used for galvanizing. The zinc tank has some top layer of zinc dross that is largely oxide. Manufacturer takes it, melts it, gives us back the pure zinc, sells the ash somewhere else. Recycling, reusing. Today, when I joined in '89, reusing was 24%. Today it is 85% in Tata Steel. The recycles and waste products are being I was not able to. Today in steel industry, more than 75% is being reused. So the overall philosophy, wherever you go, whatever you teach, should be conserving the materials, reducing the energy consumption, reusing the materials, recycling the materials. LCA helps us there. Examples. Now we can enjoy. Those of you who are busy with smartphones can look at these diagrams now and enjoy them. I am not taxing your brains much. A couple of them were in the audience, I saw that. Fine. Phase-wise breakdown of energy. Material, I have not put any, some figures are there. If it is 4 units, then this manufacturing is maybe 2 units. Usage, transport is less than 1 unit or 2 units. Usage, 7, 8 units. Disposal will take. I have not mentioned the product. I will come to products later. Carpet, manufacturing. Material, energy cost. Energy percentage use, maximum 5 units. Manufacturing, 2 units. Transport, 1 unit. Usage, 3 units. So this is the way you will often find the predominant phase is only one. Here is my material. Let us see the next one. Family car. Material, unique. Manufacturing, yes. Usage is the maximum. Energy usage is maximum. 6 is not an absolute measure, comparative measure. If it is 1.5 or 1.8, this is 5.8, 3 times. So this is what is important. Phase-wise energy, multi-story car park, material, manufacturing, transport, usage. There is hardly anything about transport in car park. Civil aircraft, airlines, materials cost or energy, manufacturing, transport, usage. You can see the 1:8 times, more than that. Okay, just a fun question, quiz question. Don't feel bad about it. My nano gives me 18 kilometers, 17 kilometers per liter. My Wagoner gives me 12 to 13 kilometers per liter. My Ambassador used to give me 7 kilometers per liter. For passenger aircraft, Boeing, what is the mileage? That means how many kilometers per liter? Any guess? Any guess? No penalty, no price, no photographs. Guess. Let us have fun. Let us have fun. Guess, guess. Boliya coach. Guess. I know you don't know. I want you to guess. Yes, please. 1. Very close. Very close. 1 kilometer per liter. It is, if I remember correctly, it is 1 kilometer for 10 liters. 10 liters, 1 kilometer. So if it is a 1500, 4000, we had that 6000 kilometers journey. So the tank had at least 60,000 liters of ATF, aviation turbine fuel. 10 could be 8, could be 7, could be 12 also, depending on the road. Nothing less than that. But the life cycle cost, the moment you calculate the passenger, number of passengers per head, the carbon footprint will come down. So this is a shock I wanted to give you. I don't want to delay it. This is only a summarizing different material. One thing is predominant. Here it is materials, single usage package, laptop, computer, paper products, maximum is product. This is automobile appliance, maximum use. This is single user of diapers, end of life usage or disposal energy is maximum. This is a summary of that. What is the best use of the analysis? One phase predominates, either manufacture or use or transport or disposal. Prioritize action accordingly. If material is the dominant phase, choose material with low energy content. Reduce amount of material. As Professor Bhartesh referred to that in the first session. Degauging of material. गाड़ी पहले 0.8 मिलीमीटर होता था, अभी 0.6 है। उससे भी कम हो। Fiber body आ, because I want to reduce the weight, because my carbon footprint is less. So you can see, it is not purely mechanical, it is not purely chemical either. It is a holistic valuation of several things. Manufacturing is the dominant phase. Reduce processing energy input. Not going well. No, it's not your fault. मेरा भी होता है. हमेशा मैं सोता था. I used to do that every time. And I remember my teacher of electrical technology used to say to us that Sujal, he's still alive. He's saying, "Hey, Shantanu, मेरा रोज क्लास है घुमा. Every day तुम सो जाते हो. What is your problem?" Because I couldn't tell him that I didn't understand what he's saying. This is so high-fi and so high technology that I didn't understand electrical technology. Third year I remember that.
Sridhar Ghosh, I remember he's such a renowned person, professor of electrical. He was very, very, very smart and very handsome, very nice delivery. But it was all beyond me. But I think I'm not talking very rocket science.
Interestingly, he's also electrical.
Okay, I'm not finished. Sir, please don't mind. Okay. If manufacturing is a DP means not a profile in WhatsApp. It's not DP. It means dominant phase. If transport is dominant phase, reduce the distance between production line or have the production unit next to the material, so that I don't have to bring the material from Kashmir and produce in Karnataka. If use is the DP, reduce mass of mobile equipment, gadi, increase thermal efficiency, boiler, reduce losses in transmission and distribution, electrical transport, TD and T&D losses in India possibly about 20-25% today. Standards. Write down the numbers, those you can refer to this. Library, refer to internet. ISO 14040, 4 distinct phases. I'll come to this. ISO 14044. Phases are independent, interdependent. One phase influences the other. 14040, 1440, 1444. 14044. Sorry. 4 basic steps. Facts to remember. Define the goal and scope. What am I going to do? What I shall cover and what I shall not cover. Compile inventory of inputs and outputs. What are the input energy, input material, input resources, and what are the outputs? Assess potential impacts. Is it going to affect the next production? Is it going to affect the customer? Is it going to affect the next environment in the long run? Interpret the results, analyzing the results. I start with input output, then I begin the impacts, and then I interpret the results. Study based on 14044 is 040 hona chahiye. 14040 and 14044. They are connected. Goal and scope definition, inventory analysis, interpretation, impact assessment. They are all related. Steps defined. Once the goal scopes are defined, if you determine the inputs, raw materials, steel, oil, grease, galvanizing coat, zinc, all my inputs for galvanized product. How much energy is used? Easily measurable, either in terms of fuel, or in terms of electrical power, or in terms of diesel generation. You can comfortably consume and measure that. Assess what the impacts are on resource depletion. 1989 October I joined Tata Steel when the liquid fuel consumption, like diesel oil, LDO, HSD, high speed diesel, LSHS, low sulfur, high stock, and coal tar, all these petrofuels, non-renewable fossil fuels, our usage was in lakhs of tons. But we used to mention that in specific terms. So many kg per ton. That means it was in the range of 11 or 12 kilogram of petrofuel per ton. And when the production is 1 million ton, 2 million ton, you can imagine, you can calculate with a simple multiplication, and you can arrive at the figure, something like the question I had. It's as easy as that. Who is the Prime Minister of India, Salman Khan or Narendra Modi? Something like that, what I got in Vodafone. Jito 50 rupiya ka free top up. It is as easy as that. Per kg of steel, per ton of steel, we were using 11 kg of petrofuel. The figure from 2005 is. Where does the fuel come from? Where does the energy come from? The entire energy comes from the byproduct gases. The coke oven gas generated during coke making, the blast furnace gas generated during blast furnace operation, the LD gas generated during steel purification, all these gases with calorific value of 4,800 and 1,600 kilocalorie per meter cube, all these are fed back into the system, and even then we are surplus. Only thing we use DG sets for power backup, little bit diesel is used there, otherwise no petrofuel is bought. No LDO is bought. No LSH is bought. Nothing, apart from running the LSH. This is a tremendous achievement. An achievement when you consider the environmental impact of burning coal and oil and all these kachra fuel, and compared to that we are using gas. The Khopoli factory where I have been high-tech radiator, they are using LPG. LPG is a costly resource, but definitely pure energy and 95% efficiency. Thermal engineers will understand this better. Interpret the results to suggest improvements or the desirable outcome from the current pattern of usage. Once you sit with the results, how much energy has been used, what is the efficiency level, what are the effluence level, then you can analyze and go back to conclude. This is a system boundary. Material production, manufacture, use, disposal. This is energy resources are being input at these stages. The blacks are emissions and product manufacture gases out. Solid effluents, liquid effluents are out. This is a schematic representation. System boundary. I give some examples of paper. Skip that. I take only one. No point going through all of them. T-shirt. Raw materials, processing, manufacturing, packaging, transport, usage, disposal. Think about the T-shirt you last put on. It started from the cotton farmer. He used fertilizers, he used energy, he used water. He used pesticides. Cotton was produced and processed. Energy and cleaners and dyes were used. It was manufactured. A lot of energy went in, a lot of waste produced. It was packed, paper and plastic, and transported through train or truck or ship, whatever it is. You use it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. You use bleach, you use detergent, you use water. You dispose it finally. Remember, this is the approach, a holistic approach when you look at a product. And this LCA enlarges your focus. Not like this. It is like this. This is what I am trying to do. Finishing chemicals. T-shirt example. This is what I say, processing of metals. Just see. I buy it at this stage. At this stage I buy. I use and then I throw away. But still it doesn't end. It has to be disposed. I will skip that. Impact assessment. Resource depletion. What are the resources? Land, minerals, trees, water, petroleum. Global warming potential. Temperature increasing, ice caps melting. Let me again make another 10 minutes. I've been, as I said, had a wonderful holiday with our daughter and son-in-law in San Francisco. We had traveled from there also many places. We went to see some natural parks. USA has wonderful natural parks where they preserve the Prakriti, the nature in its absolutely pristine way. And there were trees, the birch trees, oak trees, and I forget the name, poplar and other trees like that. And I forget the name of this. Redwood tree, right. Ages are only 2000, 2500, 1800. And one tree was cut in a section, and the annular rings you have seen inside the tree, where you cut, you can see every year, every ring years. I wish I could show the photograph. I'll get the photograph someday. Aroma. Christ was born. Hazrat Muhammad came. France had the French Revolution. Next. Sepoy Mutiny. Next. India won independence. All these are marked, and there you stand and you find that you are just a small fry in front of that entire. The tree was 3000 years old, and it fell down maybe about 20 years ago. Not 100 years ago. Oh, there was another thing. Columbus discovered it. All these are marked in small chits. I felt almost in tears. I'm an emotional person. And I felt, how does it look like?
And I'm standing here, I think I'm such a big person, such a qualified person, I can talk English, I can address so many people, I have traveled so many places, and how insignificant in front of this tree. It was almost that big in diameter. They had done a cross section, preserved with some preservative laminated coating, put it in a glass cover and with small levelers. Christ born, Muhammad born, this happened, this Columbus discovered America. This is what is happening. So global warming potential, I remembered while I looked at that. Entire America, south part of North America, not south America, is getting flooded, extremely upset, disturbed, disastrous things are happening. Entire millions of acres of pine tree population is being affected by a bug, kida, pine borer. If you have the bad habit of looking up Google, just put pine tree damage in USA. National Geographic and other things will come. Millions of acres have been damaged. And I went into the environmental cycle, how they used to be there, they used to die during the kind of winter, frozen, frost, they used to die. The overall global warming has made a change in their biological cycle so much that they are producing 15 or 50 times more faster than they used to do. And the pesticides are not allowed and they cannot control the origin. And also the lowest temperature, recently they had a very low temperature range. Otherwise it's not happening. So the cold is unable to kill them. Hazar, lakho paid pine trees are. And we have seen plenty, absolutely pine trees. It's very interesting. Pine tree damage in USA. You find pine tree borer, they call it a borer. Temperature increasing, ice caps melting. Recently I reviewed a book on environment, especially on warming. There were shocking figures. I don't want to drag there. I'm not depleted, but I'm losing energy a little bit, getting it high. Ozone depletion, we have heard about that. Eutrophication, over-enrichment leading to depletion of oxygen in water body. Gagging. हम लोग हिंदी में इसको जलकुंभी बोलते हैं. You know the जलकुंभी, I don't know, some of you might be knowing. This water hyacinth. In Bangla we call it kochuniban. Something like that. Extremely high growth. They don't do any good thing, they just stop the oxygen supply. The water life dies very quickly and it becomes stagnant water. No oxygen supply. Eutrophication.
It's called a Jalaparni.
Jalparni, same thing. In Hindi they call it Jalkumbhi. Jalkumbhar or Jalkumbhi. We call it Kochunipan. They have very beautiful mauve colored flowers. I don't know whether you have seen that. The flowers are very beautiful but misleading. Human toxicity, occupational health hazards, passive effect. Just after lunch, when Dr. Gokhale and Joshi were having lunch, he talked about the kind of hazards that Gaga chemicals has. Very pesticide. These are not allowed to be manufactured abroad. So they are manufactured in India and we run the risk of these hazard accidents. So these are the kind of toxic things. Tell me, how many of you, that reminds me, sir, funny about ask something. Okay, the student over there, if you don't mind. Just a small photo, we'll soon cut it. Occupational health hazards, passive effects, I was saying something. There are particular local chemical hazards of this particular area, and recently somewhere in South Bengal there was a gas leak from a cylinder. The cylinder had seen its life, it was empty. A Raddiwala bought those cylinders. He was gas cutting the cylinders to take out the steel so that he can sell it to steel recycle. Good, acha. But that gas cylinder still had some chlorine in it. The moment he cut it open with the oxyacetylene flame, it started generating extremely yellowish fumes. So there was a hula. So much, gas leak. The entire area of 70, 80 people and school children, they were affected. Immediately police were called and police had no idea what to do with the cylinder. They know, even they don't know what to do with criminals, so how they will know how to handle a gas cylinder? Criminals का सामने भी वैसे बेवकूफ जैसे खड़ा हो जाता है. कलकत्ता में तो झाड़ मिलता है, क्रिमिनल को झाड़ आता है, थाना में टेबल पर नीचे घुस जाता है, उसका पिक्चर आता है कलकत्ता न्यूज़पेपर्स में। वो इतना डरता है माफिया को। So what they did, they took a Domkal fire brigade, put the cylinder, they didn't wrap it that way, they took it to near the Ganges, और क्या कर गया, Ganges में डाल दिया, गंगा में डाल दिया। पूरा area of entirely as big as we double the room, entire water of that Ganga, that area became yellowish, deep yellow. And I was like, तहकीकात होगा, maybe वो एक दो चार बेचारा का नौकरी जाएगा, fine, that's fine. I mean, I don't know. As we are advancing in technology, hazards are also increasing. Hazards are also increasing. So we have to be more and more careful about impacts. List of environmental impacts. You all know this. Warming, depletion, smoke. Smoke is nothing but smoke plus fog. Human carcinogenicity, fog. That was the point. How we use good night or all-out cake at night for matcha? Many of us. How many of you use that coils, kachua kind of thing? Possibly not much. Maybe one. I have a feeling they are not good for our health. Especially the kachua kind of thing. Or even HIT or Morton. Once you spray, you feel suffocated. I have a deep belief, not scientifically based, they are indirect cause of cancer. Today, the rampant attack of cancer in every family today. कैसे explain करो? खाना तो जानबूझ के हम लोग जहर तो नहीं खा रहे हैं, लेकिन something zahar is entering our body, and from these occupational hazards. And no company comes clean saying that ours is absolutely non-carcinogenous. कभी-कभी देखते हो दो चार हर्बल 70% हर्बल, अरे 70% हर्बल तो 30% क्या है हर्बल है, वो तो मार डालेगा। They will never say that is non-verbal. Dangerous. And then वो ओडोवास करके पूछ हुआ, okay? अभी मच्छर उसको आके सामने आके हंसता है, पूरा मोटा क्रीम देके सोता हूँ, मच्छर कूं 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 करके पूरा जोक्स बोल के भाग जाता है। That is my experience, my wife's experience. बेकार हो गया, because they are not deeply into that. What I am using today is two things. I keep on experimenting. Somebody saying नींबू और लौंग एक साथ में half नींबू काट के उसमें लौंग डाल के समझो, maybe the mosquitoes found that गजब का स्मेल आ रहा है, छोड़ो। उसके बाद they had some R&D. They are sure they have R&D. No, my mind is that one day they have R&D. After 3 days, they neglected. They started laughing. I read in a book, in an old book, saying that petrol, citronella oil, and kerosene in some mixture formula, mix it. I found it very happy, and I said to my wife, "Kabul kar, patent कर वो भी 2 महीने का बाद देखा मच्छरों का कुछ भी फर्क नहीं पड़ता। When they choose, but periodically, one fine morning, Tuesday they were not a single one. Thursday they come back, maybe it's whole night we cannot sleep. I don't use machardani. I should, but anyway I don't feel like. Only thing it still works is citronella oil raw. If you get it, harmless, pure oil, Assam Emporium में मिलता है. You get it, it's costly, maybe 95 rupees for 50 milliliter or 100 milliliter. Citronella pure concentrate. उसका साथ नारियल तेल के साथ डाल के करके लगाओ तो वो लेकिन ओडोमॉस भी अभी ह्यूमरस प्रोडक्ट हंसता है, मच्छर तो हंसता है। जो आपने सुना ना चूहा पकड़ने वाला जो कल होता था खट लकड़ी वाला जो होता था, सॉरी फॉर डाइग्रेशन, थोड़ा बहुत आफ्टरनून में थोड़ा मूड ये करना है। तो एक आदमी बंदा ने लगाया, देखा 2 चूहा बाहर मारा हुआ पड़ा, वो जैसे का तैसे अंदर में डबल रोटी रखा हुआ है, पाव रखा हुआ है, लेकिन वो चूहा तो कैसे हो? तो एक चूहा उनको बताया, ड्रीम में बताया, उन्होंने देखा आपका कॉल इतना बेकार है, देख के हंस के मर गए। Sorry for digression, but I thought this is the way to talk about. So be careful about the product usage. I don't know this definitely is all out. This kind of water and heat, none of them is good for you. Ozone formation, acidification, eutrophication.
I will share this with you. I request you can give it to everybody. It's a generic thing. I don't want to describe. Where is the source? What is the effect? Acidification कहाँ होता है? S is source, E is effect. Eutrophication कहाँ होता है? Persistent toxicity कहाँ से होता है? What is the effect? It all says that. Global impact, source, effect, resource depletion. Greenhouse effect, source, depletion. Depleter of ozone, depletion of ozone layer. बहुत मेहनत करके बनाया था ये, because I had to give a lecture in National Metallurgical Laboratory to their scientists on life cycle analysis for 1 hour. So that was it. This is also a master list, a ready reckoner, which talks about spatial nature, temporal nature. Space में क्या effect होता है? कितना जगह effect करता है? कितना time? 1 घंटा, 1 साल या 100. For example, the kind of disposable plates we use in catering coffee, जो बहुत मुलायम लगता है, soft भी लगता है. That's the worst possible, because the depletion or decaying rate is 150 years, 100 to 150 years. Even ordinary plastic, which is थोड़ा सा पतला, थोड़ा टेढ़ा मेढ़ा, decomposes, can be burned, but that is extremely dangerous. So what should we do? Ceramic plates are breakable, brittle. Go for पत्ता वाला, शाल पत्ता वाला, हमारा वहाँ काफी शाल पत्ता वाला जो आजकल बनता है. We used to have कला पत्ता, banana leaves. वो भी महंगा हो गया, but if you are conscious, at least you are aware. Maybe you cannot help it, you are going for that. Give it a chance, get to use those things, and be careful. Eutrophication, this is another master list. White 1LC. Identify process, ingredients, compare options. Can I reduce? Help. Long-term planning. Who can use LCA? Manufacturers of product, manufacturers of product, manufacturer of products for development, improvement and comparison. You can think of who else. Policymakers. Canada uses this brand. Nordic countries uses this. West Germany uses this mark. Japan uses this. United States, this is public policymakers. This seal means it has been analyzed by life cycle. I don't think India has a mark until now. Calculation of footprint, benchmarking, either in Maharashtra or in India or in Asia or of the global impact. Emission spaces. Environmental impacts, global, regional, local. LCA standards, I have the numbers. I don't want to describe these curves, they are quite complicated curves, but I want all of you to remember these terms. Ashby curves. I am, as I say, partly opening the syllabus. I want those of you who are keen should look it up. Ashby curves. If you don't find it, write back to me, to my email address. I will send you the curves. And the book, what I wrote, I will write. I will write it down for you. And materials for environment by Michael Ashby. Amazing, amazing. I had the privilege of reviewing that book for an international journal. So I know the book, I have a free copy from the publisher. The curves look quite complicated. Energy versus strength, density versus Young's modulus. Mechanical engineers will understand it better. Strength versus density, modulus versus energy chart, thermal diffusivity versus conductivity. If this room temperature is 25 degrees centigrade, why I feel it is less here, 25 here, but it feels like 20. But they are at the same temperature. I want my mechanical friends to answer this question.
This thermal conductivity.
Sir, आप mechanical नहीं हैं, चुप रहिए.
It is a branch of mechanics.
He is in chemical.
See, is
Oh, you are trying to be a philanthropic, wish praying. Mat bolo. It's a property called diffusivity.
Kc by rho, conductivity and density in specific heat. It's a combination for a thermal diffusibility. Because that metal absorbs heat from my hand much faster than the blue fabric does. It's a diffusivity that determines the field. Kc by rho, if I remember correctly. C specific heat, K is conductivity, rho is density. If I remember correctly. Looks very colorful, but they are not very easy to read. I won't leave it to you. I am finished. I don't want to go. This is another term, you can look it up. This is a measure of the effective energy use called Kaya index. Kaya index is a measure of F equal to P into G by P, E by G, F by E, where everyone has CO2 emission, global population, sum of GDP and global energy use. These are the four factors related by Kaya index. This is another useful tool for life cycle analysis, and it is for us to train ourselves in the new technology, talk about these new technologies to newer students who are coming, make them aware so that when they hear the talk, they shouldn't feel never heard of it. At least somebody should feel, bas, that is the first chingari that you need. Maybe out of 10, there will be 2 fires. 4 of them will still glow. The rest 4 will die, will be put off. But those 2 will create one. As teachers, as facilitators, as change agents, your job is to open their eyes to new techniques and technology for the days to come, for the years to come, for the new country. Thank you very much. I have given this particular presentation to Dr. Joshi. He is wrapped up. I can give it to anybody else who has. Just
2-3 minutes.
yeah.
So I thank you to Dr. Shantanu Chakrabarti for sharing wonderful sessions from last year. Every session was somewhat different and he shared his experiences. So sessions are over here. There will be some short department visit. So in that sense, from our side, I request Dhanavade sir to hand over our GIT club as a token of love to Dr. Shantanu.
That's a very lovely thing. That's the way, that's where I have my tea in the morning. It's a tea cup, I know, very beautifully designed.
Okay, thank you for your.
If there is 1 or 2 questions at all,
Yes.
if there is
Anybody
anything
can.
spontaneously. It's a generic, it's a new topic. It's a new topic. I have not taught you how to apply this. I have talked about why is it applied, where it is applied, what does it consist of, and why is it important. I have created a bigger canvas for it. You have to complete the picture yourself.
But after going through your session, sir, what I have understood is that we are growing, we are running, but we are not covering the distance. That's what I feel.
I again remember a particular kahavat, Bangla mein jo tha. Somebody went to Bangladesh, and Bangladesh had auto rickshaws and very decorative rickshaws. And one of the auto rickshaws, piche likha hua hai, I will translate it in Hindi or in English. It says, going, not knowing where going. Something like that. It's running, not going. Jaitasi, kaha jaitasi jani na. I am going, but kaha ja rahe hai, pata nahi. Correct, but Professor, things are not that right. The competitiveness which Professor Latkar had referred in the morning has changed the world. Any company who wants to be ahead, absolutely following such advanced techniques like this for material design. In production, I taught Kopoli a technique called FMEA, failure mode effect analysis. I taught them handhold karke. ये लिखना है, ऐसा करना है, ऐसे लागू करो. I can take the horse near the water. लेकिन वो घोड़ा पानी पिएगा या नहीं, that's not my concern. I mean, I cannot make the horse drink the water. घोड़े को आप ले सकते हो नदी का पास, but पानी वो नहीं पिएगा वो आपका परफॉर्मेंस. I have taught them the technique. So there are companies they are employing in bigger numbers. And those who have a vision, those who want to stay in the competition, those who want to pursue quality, inevitably have to follow that. That's it. We are covering distances, but then again there are backward movement as well. Don't make a drastic decision. I am hopeful about the manufacturing sector. It will. JSW, whatever I know, little of them, Tata inside story, whatever I know. Companies like JSPL, we were there in Ranchi, May 2017 for solving some of the gas handling problems. The management, new management is definitely.
The products and processes needs to be designed in such a way that they should impact the social life.
वो तो बाद में आएगा. At least consciousness. Our duty of Gharda Institute of Technology is to train our boys and girls. Look, suno, jano, such techniques exist. So that when you are there and you get a free hand of doing it, do it. Let them be the change agent. What you have done, you have put the little fire inside. Matches दे दिए. दूसरा surface मिलेगा तो आग लगेगी.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Thank you very much. I enjoyed immensely.